Looks like the audio should work.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the first Indiewebcamp of 2016. New York City. Pretty awesome. We haven't had one here since 2014. So we're pretty excited about this. First time here in the Mozilla New York City office as well. Should be happy. I'm Tomtek, one of your three organizers. This is David, helping out with the AV, and Laura behind you, who has helped us with the space and the food and with so many other things here. We're very grateful. Thanks, Laura.
Of course.
So the first thing I want to start you off with is this video that I think you have seen, but I don't think everyone else has. Let's see if we can start this over.
We can't change what it's become, but we can change what it will be. It starts with your website.
So that's the Squarespace ad that they played during the Super Bowl 2 years ago now? I think it was 2 years ago. And they never said Squarespace anywhere. And so Aaron Parecki edited the video to just say Indiewebcamp at the end. So that's our parody. Because the message completely holds true. But we thought that was pretty awesome that a web hosting company actually bought a Super Bowl ad to encourage people to build their own websites. Like, how amazing is that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how mainstream we think it is. Okay. Let's see. So this is the 6th year of Indiewebcamp. Indiewebcamp started in 2011 by a bunch of us that wanted to take the kind of open source, open standards focus from just being about a lot of discussions about standards and how big companies should build things to, well, let's focus on how we should build our own websites and make them work together first. So let's try sort of grassroots from the bottom up rather than just trying to get like top-down agreement and then social networks to agree. And we've had a lot of success with that, and that's what Indiewebcamp's been based on. Like your independence first, and then working together with other sites second as well. So our homepage, here we go. You can zoom in a little bit. This is probably the best summary of what we're about. People-focused alternative to the corporate web. Your content is yours, you're better connected, and you are in control of it. Those are our core ideas that we're putting together. And one big area that we're very different from a lot of efforts is that we focus on a set of principles. And I'm not going to go through them all today, right now, but you can check them out on the wiki. Mostly, these principles help guide our work and development. And the difference here is that we use these principles to guide that rather than saying, oh, let's all go work on one open source project. So we actually encourage a plurality of projects. We encourage you to work on your own project, on someone else's project, start one, collaborate, whatever you feel like doing, because we think we're stronger with multiple different projects working together than all trying to work on one project. So I think that's a pretty big important difference. But today and tomorrow, what I want you all to focus on is what is the next most important thing to you to get done on your website? Or if you're not sure, like what drives you? What's your passion in terms of the stuff that you publish or post online? Whether you post stuff on Twitter or Instagram or Tumblr or wherever, if you're posting stuff online, get to the heart of what is it that you want to do with that, and then let's ask the next question, which is how can we help you do that on your own website? At least first, if not only. So that's our principles. right, we do have a code of conduct. It's pretty straightforward. It basically comes down to respect each other, resolve things peacefully. There's a bunch of harassment behaviors that we don't tolerate. If there's a problem and it's your problem that you caused it, then apologize for it and make up for it. If you find that you can't talk to someone about the problem directly, talk to any one of us organizers about it, and we'll take care of it. And that's basically it, the summary. We'll let you read through that whole thing later.
Is Esko supposed to have signed that?
If you agree with it.
Well, I don't remember.
You can sign anytime you want.
Okay. I'll bring note up.
And that brings us to introduction demos. So, what bar camps normally do, this is kind of like a bar camp, is that people introduce themselves and give like a few words to describe themselves. So what we've been doing instead in Webcamp is, this is your opportunity to say, hey, your name, your website, if you have one, and then either something you want to get done today, or show us something you did something cool on your website recently. So I can go ahead and start with that. Let's see if I can get this to work. So I have to use the iPad. There we go. Okay. So I'm showing you my website coming through on my iPod, and first I'll show you what you don't want to see. You don't want to see this ever happen to you, which means that your Wi-Fi is broken.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a whole separate thing. This is a freshly reinstalled iPod. I've gotten a lot of mobile presentation tweaks done this past year that I'm very happy with. So I've tried very hard to make it so that you can see notes on my site. When I post a photo, it's full bleed across the entire screen, which is pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with that. I did a lot of work on trying to get the spacing right around the text versus the photo. Let's see what else. Do I have any videos on here? But this is basically my homepage. And my goal here was to make it as nice to look at and browse through as any Silos feed. Like as someone's Facebook feed or Instagram feed, I wanted my site to be just as pretty, just as like nice looking. And I think I've gotten pretty close. I'm pretty happy with the general feel of it and the general like, hey, there's notes, there's a date, it's got the promo link you can click on. Oh, here we go, here's a video. So I got video posting done last year. I was pretty happy with that. And let's see if this works. If I hit play. Maybe. Okay, so as you saw, it just kind of went full screen and it's playing. I think the sound is still coming out of the iPod. And then when you go, it just goes back down and you keep scrolling. So I try to make it a really seamless experience like that, like no pop-ups or anything. And that's pretty much it. So that's my demo, where I've gotten my website recently. So we can demo VGA, Lightning, or HDMI. Anyone wants to show their site? Who wants to go next?
So this is my current site, which hasn't changed a huge amount. for a while. There's lots which I'm unhappy about with it, which I'll get onto in a minute. So, for instance, one of the things that I did have on there was check-ins, places, this ability to check in. This is all now broken because the API that I was relying on has gone away.
What was the API?
It was an API called CloudMade, which is a wrapper around OpenStreetMap that lets you do quick venue search, kind of Foursquare style, get me all the stuff nearby. So this is why I haven't done any like check-in posts for a very long time. I think I last manually checked in 6 months ago when I was in a jazz club in London. Which is why it says last spotted 6 months ago, even though I've made posts since then. I've kind of have been trying to rebuild my site, so I've got a new version which I've been kind of working on, which has got a lot better support for things like events, and they kind of appear in line, but there's it's a much kind of better interface to say add an event. It's nice URLs. You can kind of choose the.
Oh, like the hyperlinks.
Yeah, you can choose those. You can also set up redirect URLs to kind of have the short URLs stored within the database. The idea is there's also the venue detail pages, which currently just have a name and a lat long, but they will eventually have maps and links and fun things. The other thing I've been doing, so there's a few interesting things I've been kind of working on, is if I go to add an entry, I've been trying to like build it from the ground up with internationalization. So if I add in French, so why's that not working? Just save the settings or something. Yeah, that's weird. Let's just try. I actually found an interesting thing with Firefox is that it syncs your language settings between computers. So I changed the language setting on one computer for testing and went to another one. I was like, what's everything in? Let's try Portuguese. No, that doesn't seem to be working. I've been trying to make it so that it follows that sets a cookie for your language, so that when you visit the site, you can say, actually, no, I want to input this language, and then the language consists of sessions. Just because the problem I currently have is if you don't speak English, there doesn't really seem to be any options for blogging software that aren't WordPress, and there's a lot of people who don't like WordPress for various reasons. And nailing that at the start seems like I'm building that from the start rather than kind of adding it on is the thing I want to do. The other thing is I've been, what's the thing to say? Oh yeah, I actually worked out a way of doing kind of building an API in that requires nothing but HTML. So you get a page, you get back HTML. If you say accept application/JSON, you'll get back the microformats passed out as JSON. If you say application/turtle, you get back an RDF. Oh, no, you don't. You get back text/turtle. You get back an RDF representation.
Cool.
Just because each of the pages has both. Actually, the event pages are a better example. Have both microformats and schema.org properties in there. So, but there's nothing that's nothing that's going on other than just that there's no like side files that are being loaded. It's literally all it is when you request, say, the JSON version, it loads the HTML version, passes it, and gives it back to you. Same with the RDF version, whatever. It's just middleware between the site and the browser. But I haven't had nearly enough time to work on it. That's kind of the future version, because this is basically I've made the original version of my site on the train back from the first Indiewebcamp I went to, and there were certain design decisions that the train back to London at 9 o'clock at night you don't quite have the time to make properly.
Very cool.
Hi, I'm Mark Wunsch. This is my first Indiewebcamp, but I've been really interested in this the ideas here for quite some time, and was mildly active in the microformats community. So I'll show you. This is my website, markwunsch.com. It is a Jekyll website hosted on GitHub pages. And some of the things I'm exploring are really just around like
What's your IRC, Nick?
it's mwunsch, M-W-U-N-C. And so there's like a whole kind of backstory behind this, which is my job at For the Runway is I'm an engineering manager, which means I don't get to code that often. And one of sort of the, it's not really a resolution because it happened like over the summer, was like I want to start writing code every day just so I can, keep that kind of part of me sharp. So I've had for a long time a Tumblr blog. I like Tumblr as a tool and as a sort of network. And I knew I wanted to do sort of this sort of posse, syndication to Tumblr. And so I've kind of set that up so it's not really obvious here, but here's a Tumblr post where I talk about building out my posse system, and here's the sort of corresponding source code in Jekyll that does this, and I can show that basically the way I've done this is I wanted sort of everything to be flat files represented as a file on the file system in Git. I wanted to not do anything other than my sort of normal, I'm going to write a blog post or whatever, and commit it and push it and have that be my mechanism for publishing to the web. So what I've done is I've created a Jekyll generator. Let's see if I can find it. Let's plug in. So I'll show off the source code for it. You can see. But basically what this does is it looks at certain blog posts. So this Ruby code looks at certain blog posts, as kind of extracts out that metadata from the YAML kind of markdown format, and then publishes it to Tumblr. So that's sort of one of the first things I've done, and I guess one of the things I'd like to accomplish over this camp is expand it out to more of the Tumblr kind of post types. Right now it only really supports text and link types. I'd love to be able to post photos and some of those other kind of things in a similar manner. It shouldn't be too difficult. The other thing I've also done is, because I've started sort of this kind of coding streak and can sort of just see this, like, I try not to code on weekends, but I've been trying to keep, and I took a week off, but I try to sort of keep this streak going. So publishing to my blog counts as like me writing code. For these purposes. But the other thing I've started doing is writing a weekly newsletter, and this is linked. And then I publish to this, and basically the newsletter, and hopefully I'll be able to write something today, is basically every week what is the code that I wrote? What am I kind of exploring this is also published through Jekyll. So using a very kind of similar thing, I basically sort of set up, here's this SMTP server that I'm going to send this mail to, parse out the Jekyll post and the markdown, and then you can see kind of format a mail message. So when I do a git push, it will email out my newsletter to the subscribers. I really like this kind of, it's as just a part of my writing and Git workflow. I'm also kind of publishing things to the internet.
That's pretty awesome. That's really cool. I don't think we've seen anyone doing Posse to mail like that before, like, regularly.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
And like it's all been part of this sort of strange resolution. I switched to Emacs last year, so it's it's a whole new me. But you've just met me, so
Well done.
yeah. Thank you.
I guess I can go next. I don't have a whole lot to demo, but I have a bit to talk about. So I'm Mark Matienzo. I have a couple of websites. My two personal websites that I'm showing are both Jekyll. So this, I actually just found out about Indiewebcamp within the last couple of weeks, but have followed sort of similar interests like microformats for a long time. But the way I came across it was actually a reference to web mentions on another email list that I'm on. My personal websites, as I said, are both Jekyll. When I found out about Indiewebcamp, one of the first things I did was try to just move this sort of placeholder page about myself from about.me to just Jekyll, just because I kind of realized by looking at the way that about.me published its data, it was actually not that great and didn't give me the level of control I actually wanted. So this is just Jekyll with a, I believe this is just a FormSpring contact form which emails me. This is my other personal site, which is more of like a portfolio and professional site where I have resume and things like that. And one of my goals for this year, from the perspective of IndieWeb, is really to focus on pulling in a lot of my content through Pesos from a lot of existing cyber platforms. So, and part of that is I'm not sure how much of that I want to make publicly consumable, but to move stuff, like have a consistent way to move stuff off of Tumblr through old LiveJournal account as sort of like a form of self-archiving, rather than saying like, I want to totally publicly acknowledge what I'm doing. I also am interested in that in part because I've noticed that in my professional community that there sort of seems to be a move towards posting a lot of things on Medium, which I'm happy to do from the perspective of getting people to engage with my writing, but that's not I don't want my workflow to start with Medium. So I think sort of on the work side of things, I work for an organization called the Digital Public Library of America, and we're a nonprofit based in Boston, but I live here in New York City. And what we do is we aggregate information about digital and digitized materials from libraries, archives, and museums across the US. We have a number of projects. So part of this is we provide the single search index and an API to access that. We also provide sets of curated tools, so our curated content like exhibitions. We have a new project which publishes these primary source sets, which are intended for educators. So we've identified resources in our holdings that relate to a given topic. Because we have an API, we've also been really trying to encourage use of that API and trying to figure out ways to say, like, how can we best understand how our API users are finding and using content one of these sort of publicly intended curation activities is a revision of what we're calling our saved lists feature. So people can essentially, like, we have like sort of a siloed bookmark which is internal to internal to our front-end application, and we're looking to move that to have an actual API. So part of that for me is, since I found out about WebMention, is it would be great to get a sense of when and how people are reusing our content from some perspectives, just from analytics, but also just to say, like, oh, this object has been used in this presentation, or is like talked about in this blog post, and to do that consistently. This is also the message that I reference on this mailing list is I'm part of a community called the International Image Interoperability Framework, which is basically designed to develop a set of specs to provide consistent APIs for providing access to images and sort of presentation details about images. So like a consistent zoomable image API interface. So one of the things, but also how to pull structural information about sequences of images together so they can be reused in a number of different contexts. So there's been some discussion on this IIIF list about the use of WebMention in terms of a way to provide notifications about reuse of, again, sort of these groupings of what would typically be cultural heritage content. So a lot of these use cases for the IIIF community focus either on artworks or medieval manuscripts. So it's sort of like a broad personal and professional interest in sort of what Indiewebcamp is all about. So.
Great. Okay. Oh, I see you're using an iPhone.
Yeah.
Do you want to demo anything?
No, I'm just taking little notes.
Okay.
It's I'm just watching, and well, one of my plans last webcam, Indiewebcamp, was to do my own website, but it didn't work yet. But the next one, I will have it done.
Well, how about today?
There's no time like the present.
Exactly, I agree. So maybe, I don't know.
You might be able to get some help here.
Yeah.
I guess so. I have the right crowd here.
You do. You have the right crowd.
My idea is to do something related to travel and pictures and art and music. It's putting all the things, all the ideas together to build it. I don't know if I always heard that you need to have all the ideas together to then start the right way.
Yeah.
So
If you don't want to rebuild it later when you get
exactly,
you think of it.
exactly. Otherwise, you have to rebuild it.
We're big fans of starting as soon as you have one idea,
Yeah.
and then iterating and rebuilding and rebuilding.
Cool.
Sometimes that's kind of the reality of my job.
Yeah.
I've only been in my job for 2 years, but we're constantly having to plan rebuilds. It's just
Yeah.
Because when you build one thing, then that gives you ideas for the next thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then, yeah.
It's so much what I found is like getting through the inertia of building the thing. It's like, how can you build the simplest thing possible? You know, I always end up like with these very grandiose schemes of what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the simplest thing possible you can start?
Yeah.
And getting over that inertia, sort of.
Yeah. Procrastination is always playing around. Yeah.
So one tool we've developed in the community to help with that is, because we all come up with grandiose ideas, which is awesome, by the way. Like, don't not come up, with grandiose ideas.
Yeah.
Is we encourage everyone to capture these itches that they want to solve on their own wiki page on the Indiewebcamp wiki. Just like toss it into a list. If you want to build something super awesome widget that does some crazy like photo, music, synchronization thing, great. Put it all on there, and then just by getting that stuff on a list, it kind of gives you this sense of like, okay, now I can allow myself the freedom to go do something simple, because at least I've written down the things that I want to do that are bigger,
Right.
and I'll know when I can get to them. And I can build in that direction.
And if I don't write it down, someone else will be writing it down for me.
That's cool.
Or pestering you to.
That's how your name became a verb.
Yeah, we have this kind of culture in the IRC channel where if someone starts talking in a very in a lot of jargon speak, a lot of like very techie specific speak, we try to make the community really welcoming to everyone, not just technology folks, but if you're an artist or a musician or a filmmaker or a writer, doesn't matter. Like everyone has creative output needs to put things on their own website, and so we kind of view the channel as a reflection of that. So when people start just talking pure technology stuff, I'll start going in there and asking, well, what is such and such term? And then one of two things will happen. Either our handy IRC bot, Loki, will answer the question, oh, that piece of jargon means this, hopefully in reasonably plain English language. Or if there's no explanation for it, Loki says, I don't know what that is. You want to create a wiki page for it. But the bot is also very clever in that if someone just answers, oh, such and such is, and then describes it, the bot will create a wiki page based on that description. So just on people talking, the wiki grows. It's really cool. Yeah, there you go.
I could start today playing something, creating a page.
Sounds great.
Yeah, could start, no problem.
I'm sure Tom can help you out with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
HTML.
Sounds good.
Teaching HTML and CSS on the fly.
Yeah.
Laura,
Very-
you should introduce yourself and show off something.
I have nothing to show off really, but I'm here to create something to show off next time.
You have a Tumblr.
I haven't updated that in 6 years, so I don't want to show that.
You have a Twitter.
Yeah, but that's I haven't used those in a while. But I'm
That's
going
good.
to Patagonia. I'm going backpacking for 4 weeks at the end of February with my husband. And there's no real resources for people who want to do such a long hike. So I was thinking about creating a website just about our journey, prepping, what we looked at, what we read, our journeys to RPI, Patagonia store, and kind of together a packing list, and then once we get there, because there's really no information and the anxiety grows and grows every day, waiting for, to get there. So I thought that would be a cool thing. Plus, allows people to follow, what we did. People ask about how our trip went, so.
That's really cool. The sort of the other project that I've had in the back of my head is I'm recently engaged and now planning a wedding. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Now I have to. My partner and I have decided that I'm going to be the one to set up the wedding website and trying to figure out how much I can reflect of the Indieweb presence. That feels like a real stretch personal goal in terms of all the other logistics that surround the wedding.
Yeah.
If anything, I have a really easy website.
Yeah.
It's just a template that I did.
Yeah.
There you go.
But also being able to say look for people, find a way for that sort of very non-technically inclined people can say, here are my pictures that I posted to Flickr of your wedding, or Instagram or whatever.
Wherever they post it.
Yeah.
Wherever they post it,
Yeah.
and be able to say oh look, there's pull that together after the fact.
My husband's brother is recently engaged too, and he, on his wedding website,
Mhm.
he has a page where all the hashtags actually goes to the picture page.
Mhm.
So on anyone can, they use this hashtag, it goes to this one
Cool.
page. I wonder how he did that.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool.
That's like a hashtag aggregator of some sort.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, because that's what happens a lot of times, that the hashtags get lost if you're private or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool place to put everything, yeah.
Great. Well, that's everyone.
It is.
The demoed.
It is.
Are you gonna demo?
You didn't ask me. You just said it's everyone.
I was because you didn't volunteer.
I was waiting my turn. I have the problem that this computer is being used for the stream.
What connector do you need?
Well, no, I'll just borrow this one.
All right, cool.
I'll just have to key in a password manually.
Paul, your project description sounded similar to what Laura was talking about.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah.
Would you volunteer to hold the camera?
Yes, sure.
Well, you notice I've been doing that, and
Yeah, and often before. Can you
yeah, well, don't worry. There's 15 feet. You're not gonna run out of space.
Should I go all the way to the back?
Well, no, I was doing it from here.
Okay.
So yeah, that's visible. So regrettably, since I'm using the computer that I have sitting here for the purpose of running the live stream, and the other computer I brought is sitting all the way over there, we'll just have to borrow this one for a second. So this is currently the site that I have for myself. I have another site where I just use to test things and break them, at least until they're working well enough for me to put them on. So there we are. This is actually reflecting a like. A little thumbs up there. And you can see at the bottom the name of the type is down here, so I can show you an archive page of every like that I have on here. Last few I think were video, but oh, I like some guy. Anyway, but then there are articles. I was doing a multi-part series on my vacation for reasons unknown, including another project. Let's see. This one here, where I am, since I finished the last trip report, a trip I took in April of 1999, complete with the original notes that I took of when I was actually using real film, and the original ticket.
Cool. Yep.
Finally, being a pack rat has come in handy. Thought I muted that. Anyway, so now all the sites that I run are running WordPress. So let's have a look at what it looks like on the back. Now, please bear with me, as this computer does not know my password. Neither do I. Thank you, security. So just give me a moment here. Ooh, it starts with a comma. Don't worry, I'm changing this afterwards, just in case. No, I do not want Firefox to. So here, if any of you have seen WordPress before, is the standard WordPress interface. You can see my web mentions here. Now, most things are coming in by plugin. So the additions that I've been working on for the WordPress interface includes this section here, which would be the kinds of posts. They can't be called types because types actually is an approved WordPress word I can't use. So kinds is what is the word that's being used here. So we have the bookmark, the favorite, the jam. There are other ones, but these are the ones that are currently displaying on the site. So one of the features I've been working on, and I demonstrated before, but I continue to iterate on, is this little box here. So let's say that I have an article from some guy. Let's find something IndieWeb related. Since he's sitting next to me, let's use something from his site. Well, no, I'm just
That's IndieWeb related. True.
Well, I just need a permalink. Okay, so I now have a permalink of this thing, which let's say, for the sake of argument, that I want to respond to. Sorry, not my computer, takes a moment. So if I paste it into this box here, and just click this little handy button, it has now found a name for me, and then if we move over here, we have what the name of the site is, the author, the URL, and a picture. Also, the publication time and last updated time. Some of the fields here you may notice actually have 2 double meanings. If I actually had a separate field for every single thing, it would probably be a 10-page form. And so start time and end time double up with published and updated. And over here we have site name, publication, or album, and they all reflect the same thing. So, and whether it's an author or an artist, because I use the same thing for reflecting that I'm listening to music. So if I were...
How are you getting that information?
It's actually a combination of 2 factors. One is, of course, microformats. The other one, at the moment, is Open Graph for sites that don't have microformats. So I basically take Open Graph, convert the fields into microformats, and merge that with an actual microformat parsing. So I figure between the two of them, I'll cover probably a large percentage of the web. And I think I have a couple more fallbacks in there, and I keep tweaking the code on that. So if I were to publish that and fill in, let's say, a comment on, I'll change this over to a like or a favorite, it would look, just to go back to the page rather than creating something new, it would look like this, or let me scroll down there other ones. So here is me liking a YouTube video about Martin Luther King Day. Let's see if I have a few others here. So here's an article by somebody named Tom Morris, whoever that is. Oh, you know him?
That's you.
Yeah. Some of the Android users might be here as well, actually.
Yes. So I replied basically with a comment on an article about that. And it was able to find this little summary here and create this little page. Yeah. So that's that. And Matt.
I hope I didn't shake too much.
Of
coffee this morning.
Well, that's why the preferred, I should have brought a tripod, didn't think of it, but the preferred place for the camera is securely up here where it can happily see the whole table. There we are. So I believe that finishes demoing.
That concludes our introductions and demos, and that takes us to the next thing, which is session scheduling. How many of you have been to a bar camp or unconference type conference before? Pretty much like almost everyone. You said you've been to a new webcamp, right?
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so for this part, we gotta walk over here to the session grid. And handily pre-filled out for you. This is
I don't know if I can actually turn towards the session grid, but
headings.
the session grid appears on this wall over here. We will be taking a picture of the session grid shortly. For now, we're going back to the group view. We'll turn.
Oh, we have some here.
Yes.
How you doing? Are you here for any webcam?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
You just missed your introduction, so if you'd like to take a moment and introduce yourself to the crowd. We are also streaming live on the internet for those who were unable to join us. So the world is out there waiting to hear who you are.
Andrew Nelson here from Boston. Primarily PHP and Drupal developer.
Don't worry,
I'll let someone type
they
that
can
in
hear
there.
you as long as you're at least 10 feet from the middle of the table.
What's your website?
Actually, on a with known is my only indie
That works.
website. We've got a little bit of stuff to Garth.com, our company site.
Your personal site is on with known?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
mlncn.withknown.com. And NCN most everywhere.
And we're up to 3 live viewers.
Excellent. I know Aaron's viewing it. I think Gina's viewing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else probably clicked on IRC link or something. That's probably a robot. It happens. So we're doing 2 days here. So the first day we're doing mostly discussions, but if you want to just hack on something yourself, that's cool too. That's the general outline we have. Of course, come up with something else you want to work on. We encourage whatever you want to work on your own site. We have this open area. We'll probably be a little bit noisy, some open discussions. This is the Brooklyn Bridge area, as you can tell by the big picture of the bridge. And we have 4 conference rooms to use. Grand Central, Central Park, the High Line, Times Square, of varying different sizes, depending if you want to have a very small discussion, or if you want to potentially have a larger discussion. So the way this works is you pick a subject that you want to discuss or solve a problem or figure out. Like, I'll start with one. And I want to, mine is I want to figure out good techniques for getting my data out of mobile devices, as well as what are good sustainable ways to use a mobile device that doesn't leave me like trapped with it. If that makes sense.
You mean in the event that you have to have an emergency visit to an Apple store?
Yes. For example. Or you want to move from one device to another, carrier to another, OS to another. I want to first, like, how do I solve the problem? So, like, export your data. And then how do you, moving forward, use your device in a way that doesn't leave you, like, strongly attached to it so that you can switch more easily in the future. I kind of see it as a core part of independence. We're all carrying these mobile devices, posting to our websites. I figured my website's part of that solution.
And things like CalDAV and like all of the things that are very like calendar, my address book, all of these things. It's like get all of this information out and centralized.
Yeah. How do you make all that portable? So I guess it's like so you're supposed to come up with a short description or name for what you want to talk about. Sometimes it's a challenge. I guess I'm going to call mine, let's see, I'm thinking like mobile
Portability?
How about like device data portability? It's abstract enough. So you write that down, so I'll say like device, I'll just call it device data. That's even, because we assume portability is a good thing. This is a general area problem. And then you put your name on it. So I'll put my name, contact. I'll say GitHub. And if the name of the thing is short enough, you just like hashtag it. So hashtag device data. And then you pick a room and time slot that you want to talk about it. So we have 6 time slots today, actually 5, because lunch is at noon. It's a very dynamically built schedule, as you can see.
I'd like to attend the lunch session.
Okay. I'd like to talk about this, I guess, first thing, hoping to capture approaches and solutions and all that. So let's see. Let me just get a quick show of hands. Who else is interested in this topic? A few people. Okay, we'll do Times Square. And there you go. There's a session. So who else has a topic they want to talk about? Plus, you can do more than one session. We obviously have a lot of space, more spaces than people. Come on up.
Sure.
And you can do this in parallel. If you have an idea, you can just come up and write it down and then talk about it. So come up, there's multiple pens.
So, like I was sort of saying, I think one of my big interests right now is web mention. So part of that is, I've read the spec. I have not really played with an implementation yet. So that could be sort of like just going over what web mention is. But specifically, my focus is how to work with web mention for things which are not sort of people created content, like posts, like, so if in my case working with objects from our API, so giving notifications for like when, sort of, is there an implication that I'm missing for how web mention should be used for things which is like a picture of a painting or that is somehow sourced from one of our data providers or things like that.
So what's the short name of your topic? Web mentions?
I'm just going to call it web mentions.
All right. Put your name on it?
Yep.
Great.
Anybody else interested in web mentions or my specific weird use cases?
Potentially. The weird use cases sound interesting.
Well, this always goes to the problem for me. I like to see what people are thinking before I make a decision.
I'll put it up after lunch, but I can, if.
Well, we can rearrange,
Yeah,
after we
can
finish, we
certainly
can rearrange things.
Yeah, so pick a room that you think will be fine.
Everybody likes Times Square.
Yes.
Times Square is very popular.
So,
I prefer long hair square.
Go ahead, Mark.
A couple of topics that I was
There's a man.
thinking of exploring.
That's one.
So the first is not for my own website, but for actually my wife's, or yeah, actually a website or a podcast that I used to host that don't anymore. I use Let's Encrypt to serve it over HTTPS. And if you're not aware of what Let's Encrypt is, it's basically a free certificate authority. They have a bunch of tools to sort of generate SSL certs that you can use for HTTPS. So, if anybody wants to sort of serve stuff over HTTPS and doesn't do it now, or is interested in moving to Let's Encrypt, or is just learning about Let's Encrypt, it's not good talking about Let's Encrypt. I need to do that after lunch too, because I'm interested in those things. And then the other thing that I'm interested in that's much more kind of open-ended is, let's call it like Pesos implementation patterns, which is, so I use Posse to syndicate stuff onto Tumblr, but I have a bunch of Tumblr stuff that I want to pull into my own site. And I'm kind of unsure how to do that without building up lots of machinery around that. So I imagine that will be kind of smaller, but something to talk about. Cool.
I have one.
Yes.
I do not know how to code. I
What color
don't
sheet you know
speak
do you want?
I don't speak any kind of tech language. I am literally at 0% of knowledge on all these things. I'd like to get a better understanding of how you guys chose your, like, the platform that you use for your blogs, and like why you picked it, and like if you have any advice for me on which one, based on what I was talking about, you think would be a good, whatever that name is, host website I should use.
All of it.
That's
Can I
it.
put in my vote for WordPress right now?
Because I don't know how to code, so it has to be really
Yes.
simple.
That's why I suggested WordPress.
Okay.
You just install plugins that other people write.
Yeah, you see that right over my head. That's how minimal my knowledge.
Even the small plugins for it tends to be a barrier to beginners.
Um,
Yeah.
so getting started, I guess.
Yeah.
We should do that one first.
You can also just do it during lunch, and you can make it more casual.
Let's do that one first. I'm gonna move mine,
Okay.
because I want to participate in that one. You guys can see how this works.
We can just do it here.
Wanna do it there?
We can just do it here.
You can do it here.
Yeah.
Okay. There. I was gonna add another one, which was like signing in 101, like signing into the wiki. But I feel like that's probably something we can talk about as part of like you picking your blog and getting that started. And then here's how you sign into the wiki. So,
Cool. Like really getting started.
yeah. So I'm gonna put that as
Zero.
like as an also thing here. This is my way of indicating that it's just part of that.
Yeah.
I do want to have a discussion about like how we do location stuff, because it still isn't nearly seamless enough. Location and check-in.
Can I add a word to that?
Yeah.
Venue.
Yeah,
So
venue.
location, venue.
Venue. / check-in.
One thing I want to encourage is if you're leading a session, please take notes, and those notes can be, or have someone take notes, either in IRC or your own laptop, or we also have an Etherpad on Indiewebcamp, so etherpad.indiewebcamp.com. And if you just go to etherpad.indiewebcamp.com/ whatever hashtag you did, then it'll just create one for you. Would you like to get a hashtag for your session? Indiewebcamp.com. You enter a name like what session it is. Like get started or something.
Like the real basics. Like
Sure. Basics.
not the basics that people who know what they're doing think as basics.
That's what basics should be.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, I don't know.
Like I need to learn how to crawl.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is like the same topic or not, but it's sort of one of the things that I've been thinking at, like as I've been looking through the Indiewebcamp wiki, is how to make it. It's sort of like it's not the same as getting started, but how do I make it an informed decision about the tools that I use or what I expect out of the tool?
Yeah,
Because
even the website is
yeah,
quite daunting.
yeah,
For-
and it's sort of
Yeah.
it's sort of like what if the goal of this community is to certainly to welcome newcomers, like
Definitely.
particularly ones who don't feel like they're technically comfortable. How do we make sure that the philosophy around building your own tools and scratching your own itches doesn't get in the way? Like sort of like what's the trade-off between philosophy and like getting people to say, yeah, you can do this. You don't need to feel like an expert to do this.
Right. And you don't need to
So-
build your own tools.
Right.
You can use the tools that are out there. Yeah.
Right.
I think the thing which made that really apparent to me is when I saw somebody on the Bitcoin community say, of course Bitcoin is easy, you just type sudo apt-get install Bitcoin. And it's like, no, you need to actually have a page saying like, I don't know anything, what should I do to start playing, rather than like, here's,
Yeah. Well, there's a wiki page for that. Well, that's not really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to him, that's usually his
My
answer for
last 2
everything.
years in Mozilla.
Yeah. Those ladies love it.
I get emails, I'm like,
I think that's great, and I would love to spend time working on improving that, for sure. Because I think that makes everything more understandable. So even if you're an expert, being forced to drill it down into like, well, what is the actual stuff that matters versus some little jargon side conversation.
cool.
Awesome.
And look, I have my first Etherpad.
So what did you call it?
Real
Real
Basics.
Basics. Okay.
So you post
I'll
up.
put it onto the IRC thing.
So, and where is somebody put now?
Etherpad.indiewebcamp.com.
Oh, okay. We used to use the Mozilla one. Okay. Real basic.
Yeah. And so the Mozilla one moved, and then we're like, yeah, we should just do our own.
Sorry for the timing.
Ask for the real basics, but I know.
I think I'll go to your hashtag.
Oh, cool.
I put the session ideas up on the wiki.
All right, I see some things up here without hashtags. So those of you,
I think mine is just web mentions.
yeah.
And if we end up having a focus session on web mentions, we can split up the weird topics and do another ad hoc.
Who was Pesos again?
That's me. So maybe it'll be Pesos patterns.
Bring your IRC or
Yeah.
we're gonna just pick Pesos.
Okay.
It's shorter. Who was Let's Encrypt?
That was me as well.
So organizers, create your Etherpads, and that way, at least when the session happens, people will already be there and ready to go.
Just a couple of announcements for people who didn't hear. The bathrooms are straight through that second door to your left. There's also water bottles here you guys can take with you. Fill them up with water. The water fountain's there. There's hot water there too. There's coffee here. I'm going to put the bagels and stuff away but they're gonna be in the fridge, and lunch is coming at noon.
What's for lunch?
Dos Toros, Mexican, like a whole thing. And then there's food, there's drinks in here, and if you're missing anything, you can just ask me for it. And that's it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, please.
Since the first slot is only one thing right now, I'll keep this going and then we'll start another one after lunch. We'll figure out
Oh, with the
recording.
Yeah.
Butter?
But if so, I have additional microphones. We'll just hook up somebody else's laptop for a second recording feed.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch them later,
You didn't like the-
especially for the people who aren't here.
Oh, make sure that's-
Yeah, that the
I don't think.
12 hours at the airport flights cancelled.
You know, sometimes the nice thing is you can fast forward.
That's really good feedback. That's why
You know, people fumble in with their demos.
because
I was like,
That's how I attended Indiewebcamp Portland.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm sure you saw me in the group photo.
yeah, and I always have to like have like
really?
people like bickering.
Oh.
On a laptop screen, and you fold it up.
Okay, yeah, we have one of those at, I live in Aaron like that.
And you just have to zoom in. I like to show people a picture and say, see, I attended. Can you find me? Anyway, well. I'm not getting it. I'm just getting it for now. Oh, that's better.
What?
So you came down from Boston? How are things up there? Are you already planning your attendance for Indiewebcamp NYC?
Yeah. I should already be on.
I don't know, I haven't looked at it.
I'm actually very hungry.
Monday, Tuesday is harder for me.
I need to coach people in the UK one this year.
Like, we want to solve that problem, it's just
Mm.
not enough.
I have to go back to the UK one of these
Spend
days.
some amount of time in the community.
I have to go back there one of these daes. I still have some pence to get rid of.
We've lost that data perspective.
Yeah.
So we
Well, also, I can help you guys like everything.
appreciate that.
I bet even
But be
if you do,
careful,
like
pretty
videos.
soon you might become, it's been fun to get here.
No. You need to actually give up. I said you up. I'll send it back to you. I'll put this photo.
You document helps.
Yeah. I'm here. Somebody will yell at you.
Well, how about you add this bagel discussion to the wiki?
You can't, I told Tantec that you can't toast a New York bagel the first day you get it. It's like, not, can't.
Do we have
Not this often.
Indiewebcamp.com/bagel set up?
Yeah, we need to have a wiki page for that.
What is a bagel?
What?
I said, what is a bagel?
Well, you know the old question. If a seagull flies over the sea, what flies over the bay?
Bagel.
Yes, okay. So there's an answer.
That's good.
When the next round of food makes its way here. I don't know where it is.
May I trouble you for another one of those quick zeros you said?
Yeah, they're
Where I'm, well, if I get up, I have to make all these people move. That's what I'm saying. I'm working on my elastic arms, but all that radiation hasn't helped.
Sorry.
What's mostly Mosinando?
Moslando. Laura, how would you describe Moslando? You went, right?
I went and
Firefox goes to Disney?
basically,
Oh.
and freezes because of the AC lasting everywhere.
It
Really?
was pretty cold.
Oh, they like,
No, it's better
I was
when,
wearing like 6 layers, it was so cold in the conference rooms.
but it's better if you go to Florida and visit Disney World when it is 30 degrees, there are no lines.
That sounds pretty great.
I once got stuck there in 30-degree weather. Nobody wanted to hang around.
Sweet. All right, so the other thing we can do is we can link to the, oh, I see what happened. Can I trouble you to add columns to the schedule?
Yeah, there are technically columns there.
I mean, for the rooms.
At the time, we didn't know that there were rooms.
Right. Totally.
I'm about to publish my newsletter. If anybody wants to see how that works,
Sure.
I'd be interested. I don't know. So here's basically.
Is a newsletter a type of post?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So
Like, what's
for
the difference
Jekyll?
between a newsletter and an article?
So for the purposes of Jekyll, it's a post, just like any other post,
Okay.
but it's in a category, and the way Jekyll handles categories, it's basically a directory structure. So it's a post in a directory called TinyLetter. So it's just like any other post. It's just marked down. It has basically the title sort of meta field here is going to be the subject line, and you can see it's just marked down. And so I've just committed it, and then what I do is I have a Jekyll generator. So going to the command line, what it's going to do is it's going to see that here is a post that's has a category of TinyLetter, but the post metadata is missing basically a message ID. So what it's going to do is say, this is missing a message ID. It's going to try to publish it to TinyLetter. And on a successful publish, it gets sort of a message ID assigned to it. And I have this hooked up to a git hook, so it's like a pre-push hook. So if I do a git push, you'll see what will happen. It's going to trigger a Jekyll build. It's going to sort of say it's generating, and then it's going to say mailed one post, and then it's going to actually abort the push. And what happened when I go back to my text editor is you see it's added now this message ID. So I could just recommit this, like I could just amend the previous commit, and push. Now I can push it. It'll push fine. It won't abort or anything like that. But basically, it mailed it. So now it has a message ID associated with it. So it's the same way I post to Tumblr, which is either it has a Tumblr ID associated with it or it doesn't. That's how it goes with it. So that's it.
Think about that one.
This is the couch.
This is so perfect.
He goes to the couch.
Or video or whatever. It's perfect. Look,
We good?
fast friends.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of want to start off by saying that I know exactly what I want my website to look like, because I found one that is really cool, and it's about Patagonia, and I just like the style of it. And I know it's probably not where I'm supposed to start, but I want to show it to you guys.
You said the real basics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you already make Etherpad? Or
Yeah, I did. I put it on the IRC, because that's the kind of person I am. And then I'm gonna also put in the that last link if you want to open it on the screen.
But, okay, it's not, there's nothing in it yet. Got it.
Oh, should I put it in the Etherpad? I put it in the IRC.
No, I mean on the Etherpad, sorry.
Oh.
Just making sure. It looked like a blank one, so I was like, am I in the right place? Woo-hoo.
I posted a. Who's manning the screen? Oh. No, I just posted it. Go to the very bottom.
Wait,
Yeah, we're at the bottom.
Only a day away. It's the second. It's just Laura FC.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You want to click on that? Or do you want to keep the wiki thingy?
Let's do that.
So this is like the only website I found about Patagonia that was actually really helpful, and I just like the overall aesthetics of it. Here, let me.
You want to control this?
Yeah, let me control. Sorry. I mean, there's some things I want to change, but I like just the aesthetics of this and like the different places that they go to. Should they separated them? And then you can go. I don't like love this part, but you can go. They talk about one thing, and then you can click through. But I like the pictures. I like just the whole aesthetic of their site. Although they finished through. So yeah. So I don't know, and I know that you can do like tools and view source. That's how far I got. Or right here somewhere.
Yeah. Page source, second from the bottom.
Second from the bottom. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I don't know what that means.
It means this is a WordPress site.
Oh really?
It does?
Right there, WP-content.
So I can steal the whole thing.
Well, the theme, according to the name there, is OADA. If that's an already available theme, you just
No,
go
it's the same. It's the abbreviation of the site name, so it's presumably the
probably a custom one.
Yeah.
Mm.
You never know.
Sorry.
For all we know, the theme, they posted the theme publicly.
Okay. Well, I guess. What are like the first things I have to think about when I'm picking? I know that you said immediately WordPress because I'm illiterate.
I know, because
and
it
source
does a lot of the
code.
heavy lifting for you in terms of programming. Everything, graphical interfaces would be what you would be looking for if you weren't looking for writing it yourself. So WordPress is generally a one-click install, and then any extensions you want.
I think the really the first question is like, how much work do you want to do? Because even though you're right, it's a one-click install. It's like, do you want to host it yourself, like as having your own domain name and like having your own server employment?
So it'd be like Lara.com.
Yeah.
I think that one might be taken.
Well, I know it's just like.
Yeah.
So does that mean that I'm hosting it myself when it's just like
Not
whatever?
necessarily. So the question is, do you want your own domain? Let's start one simple question there.
Well, what are the benefits?
The difference is basically the name, as far as I know, and you're going to be managing the whole thing. As far as I know, I'm a beginner as well.
There's two things. There's the name. There's also the if you use somebody else, like if you had it on WordPress.com or Tumblr.com or whatever, and you're then unhappy with that service, you're kind of tied into that because they own the name. You know, it's.
I'd rather have my own.
Yeah.
So even if you
have
want
your
it
own.
somewhere else.
Because I don't want
Yeah.
mine, and I don't want it to say Tumblr on it.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to just say. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know.
And WordPress, how does it actually has your address?
WordPress. There's two ways to do WordPress. You can either host it yourself,
on
so
that
you
route.
pay for hosting, you have to manually point it to your own server, or the company that makes WordPress, Automatic, have a service called WordPress.com.
You also have about
There's
30 or 40 other companies.
Yeah, there's other companies who do it. But generally, just for like future-proofing everything, I think it's just a good idea to own your own domain. Because then even if you use a service like WordPress or Tumblr as a service, right, then you can, if you're not happy with them or it doesn't fit your needs, you can come back and say,
Or if the
Any
company
year's
goes
time,
birth,
or they go bust.
or they decide to do something else,
change the
like
terms and conditions.
yes, if they want to charge you $1,000 a month, whatever, they can decide those kinds.
Is one of them
Show it
harder
to
than
them.
the other? Hosting is probably the one. The hosting, being your own server. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't have a
Different.
server.
So
I don't have a server either. There's a company that has
Is
a
it like a
server that I
server?
rent time on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most of us don't have our own servers. People used to. Like some people used to serve stuff from their home, like have an actual physical server in their home.
Yeah.
there are people pushing to have that as a thing now because internet access is faster. You can buy them.
Like in Silicon Valley.
I don't trust my internet service provider.
Yeah,
enough.
no.
That's the flip side.
No, in terms of uptime.
Yeah, so. No, generally you rent some hosting for $5, $10, $20 a month.
So having my
Right.
own domain name is gonna cost me money, whereas being on WordPress is not.
They're two different questions.
So one is who's hosting it, and the other is where is it being hosted in terms of what address? Is it?
And
You
pretty
can point
much-
the name at anything.
And pretty much everyone who will host you for free will charge you something for having your own domain name.
Yeah.
So.
The domain name is kind of like a phone number, where you own the phone number and you can even take it between different phone providers. So a web host is kind of like a phone provider. Like, yeah, it's usually tied to your phone number. Maybe you set one up, maybe you set both at the same time, because you get a phone, you get a phone number, you get phone service. But you can change them independently.
Got it.
I've been asked to mention.
That's the best analogy
no,
I've been able to find.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Great.
I've been asked to take a moment and mention Known, which is a
Mhm.
very Indieweb compliant service.
Good.
I'm currently there, and one of the nice things is that it, out of the box, it has all the things for pushing to Facebook and Twitter and you know all the bridges to the existing social networks, plus implementing all the IndieWeb things for actually independent social connections
Like known, like
with
I know
known
you.
with known.com.
So it's another both platform and software. So WordPress is both software that you can use for a blog, and WordPress.com is a service where that hosts WordPress. Known is the software, and with Known.com is the hosted version of Known. So if you really wanted, you could install Known on your own server, but they will also they provide you with so you don't need to install it and maintain it yourself. They'll run it on their servers for you.
So actually, should we just go around and say, like, you're using WordPress, you're using Known, you don't have a website. I'm have coded my own. Ferocity, yeah.
You just gotta say it. Be proud of it, man.
Yeah. Can't be that proud of it. Yeah. You're using
I use
Jekyll.
a little bit of everything, but I primarily use something called Jekyll, which is all about coding. It's like, and I use Tumblr, but my wife has like a Squarespace. That's one where you pay. You know, it's totally graphical. There's very little coding involved.
Yeah.
There's another service called Ghost.
Is there a way to try them
Are
out?
you using Ghost or no?
No,
No, let's not list the ones that are theoretical.
Yeah.
Let's only talk about the ones people are actually using, because otherwise it's like
Yeah.
too much randomness.
Known, you can get a free one without a domain.
I'm using Jekyll, like Mark.
Wait, you're both using GitHub with that, by the way?
Yes.
So I think that's a key
Yeah.
thing to point out.
So Jekyll is basically it's a little more complicated and a little bit more nitpicky, but it's basically Jekyll is a system that allows you to have basically a set of templates, and rather than having a program which needs to be deployed to a server, you can have it basically generate static HTML pages from these templates. So you have sort of like a format for a set of posts that's like, okay, this is my content, and you run another program which sort of builds out the individual HTML files for that. I use WordPress at work. We use Tumblr for other things at work. I have a personal Tumblr. But part of what I'm trying to do and part of the reason why I'm here from a personal perspective is to figure out how to better have a single place where I'm creating and maintaining my content and be able to push it out to, say, my Facebook account or my Tumblr or Flickr or SoundCloud and that sort of thing.
So your home base.
Right, exactly. It's sort of
Everything stems from one root.
That's my goal, is to say I don't want to have to log into all these different sites to keep them up to date.
Yeah.
I want to have one thing which can push to a lot of different things.
And pull back to say.
Right. Yeah.
I would like that too.
Cool.
If possible.
So why don't we start with the easy thing? Buy a domain.
What? Oh. I have to figure
That's
out.
too much pressure, right?
Yeah, I was like, I'd
As a
like
step,
to change. Like, what if I want to change it? Like, what if at first it's all about Patagonia, but then I'm like, oh, well, I'm going backpacking next year, and it turns into my backpacking
Yeah.
blog.
But is the domain name that you would want to pick based on this activity, or is it based on your identity? So that comes to another question, which is, a domain name, for example, is it representing this project, which is not you specifically? Or is it representing you? Is this your page, or is this your page about this? Which is more important to you?
I think I would rather it be a page about backpacking than a page about me.
So
Like my
you can have
experience.
multiple. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not a huge amount of money. I mean, I pay like €10, like $10, $12, something like that for a domain each year. It's not, they're not expensive.
Did you restrict yourself to just one, though?
A friend of mine actually had an idea for a startup, which would be you pre-register and you could just send a text with the domain and they would buy it for you. So it's like you come up with an idea while drunk.
That's awesome.
So,
How does that not already exist?
so let's see here.
Okay, let's
Who owns the
show
most
hands.
domains in the
No,
room?
no. Who owns more than one domain? Okay, I want you to look around the room. Just like, okay, who owns more than 5 domains?
That's because you guys want to sell them one day. I know about this.
That is an
I know about this.
That is an optimistic appraisal.
Yeah.
You don't have more than 5 domains or more?
Not personally, no. I got rid of a few years ago.
Good job, well done.
Yeah.
Do I have to
Yeah.
exclude
I'm
those
not
actually?
paying another
Once we
$10
get to a
this year for
certain
this
point.
joke.
How many own 10 domains or more?
Oh, your face.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon. It's like,
How many own 20,
How
20
many of you
domains or
remember
more?
all your domain names?
it might be 20.
And you maintain all of them?
How many of us who have 5 more or more domains have domain names that we don't actively use? That we just
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess
So it's okay to have more than one.
Okay.
Try to restrict yourself.
I'm gonna need like 5 minutes to think by myself about what I want mine to be. But then I guess the next
Search.
thing is, do I use the WordPress or do I use known?
Or you're
I think
gonna
what-
call
I think-
Can I
it.
try them?
I think what you should do
first?
is like separate it. There's the domain. You can always point the domain wherever you want it to go.
So the domain is my website name.
The
Yes.
domain is like your
Yeah.
phone number.
Yes.
It's a website.
So
Yeah.
Laura.com.
Yeah. And it's like, I guess to use the analogy, it's like, do you want a flip phone, an Android, an iPhone? Like, that's the kind of decision between choosing a host and a platform. So I'd say I would look at Tumblr or Squarespace, WordPress.com, and see if any of those kind of
And
fit
yeah.
what you want to do. And
Unless Tumblr's changed a lot, I don't think Tumblr is what I'm going for.
yeah.
And so
what was
for-
the other one? Squarespace?
Yeah, Squarespace is quite good for that kind of thing.
But you do have to pay for Squarespace.
Yeah.
Well, all of these services at some point, like,
You either
You're
pay
gonna
for
have
it. You either pay for it, or there's going to be lots of.
or there's either pay for it or there's limitations, or you instead of paying for it, it's a little bit harder to use.
Yeah.
So I
Like,
think that
all these
that's a
different
really
trade-offs.
important thing to put on the site is paid versus non-paid. So once you make that decision, what are the paid options and what are the non-paid options?
If you're looking to, do anything serious, you're going to want to pay, but for the actual hosting of the site, it's going to be within $200 to $500 a year, unless you're doing something crazy.
How much is
$200 to $500 a year.
a year?
Yeah.
Really?
That seems
This
a
one
lot.
says
You-
$100 per year
Yeah.
You can do $5 a
for
month?
the
Yeah, you can get less.
I'm currently
Which one
paying
is that?
$96
No.
a year for my Facebook.
Okay.
So I
I
want
almost
to
got a VPS for $12 a year. You guys are
Yeah.
paying.
Way too much.
Yeah, I think those prices have gone down a lot, and it depends on what
You can get $5 or $8 VPS. So.
Yeah, but even hosted accounts you can get for somewhere between $1 and $5 a month, which would end up being about $60 a year, which is significant.
Right.
But she was, when you talk, I think it was Youth on Tech that mentioned how to start. You mentioned could be WordPress, this, and that. But you mentioned that you could write your own page as well using programming language like HTML and all that. You can create your own page.
You could.
Yeah, but would you be willing to go to that side as well? It's a lot more to learn because that's what I want to do.
You want to learn HTML.
All the languages
Okay.
as much as possible.
Great.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Like, whether you want to do that or don't want to do that.
But that's the thing. Are you? Because then you can manipulate the whole thing yourself. You can create all.
Isn't that really a lot to learn?
Not necessarily.
It depends. I mean, it's sort of part of that depends on what your goals are. Like you can say, I want to get content up. I want to make sure that I'm able to publish stuff.
Yeah, I think that's more what I.
Right.
One of the challenges about
I want
this whole.
I want it to have a good flow. I want it to be informative. I want it to
It's important
be
to put
attractive.
that options
so
and
that people
options.
actually,
For sure.
yeah.
It takes a little bit more time, but you will be doing exactly what you want to do, not following preset pages, I guess.
Is there a way for me to, for now, create like a with known, and then if
Yes.
I get really good at writing code, and one day I'm like, I have a week. I'm gonna code my whole
Yeah.
website again.
That's probably at some point.
A week?
All of us have probably done that.
Or I don't know how long that takes. But
Yeah.
It's sometimes it seems like it's a lifetime vocation.
And sometimes people do it on a train ride back from Indiewebcamp.
Yeah.
Like Tom's current site, he built. How many hours was the train ride?
This was like one show, but that was just basics of it.
But you got it up and running. You had something
Right.
showing up on the
Yeah.
site within 1 to 2 hours. So,
Yeah.
anything's possible.
Yeah.
The
I
thing
just
will
want
say-
something that's pretty self-explanatory. That's like, put your picture here, and then I want to like be able to like move my picture here, and then have the text here, and then have bold, or like I don't need
That does sound like
anything.
Squarespace, actually. They are very good at that.
Because I'm a very visual person,
What you just said is something that they.
and
focused
I
on.
did do something with WordPress once. I think I created
Yeah,
something.
you can play with Squarespace.com and WordPress.
You can get free
WordPress.com.
tests.
Great, yeah.
Okay,
Play
cool.
with it until you're
So I
satisfied.
guess that's what I'll be doing this afternoon, and I'll be bothering all of you.
But just as far as like so WordPress versus with known, WordPress is going to have a lot more people if you want to pay someone to implement the design, like your division of design. If you want to follow tutorials on that, I'm sure there'll be much more how to implement a design in WordPress than Known's. But presumably Known is going to be ahead of WordPress in the indie web, publishing once, syndicating everywhere.
And if you don't want to do it yourself, but you want it custom coded, there are all these sites where you can get a whole bunch of shady developers who work for cheap from third world countries. I've never had the nerve to do that for other reasons.
No, I think I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
And I think that if there's like tutorials, I think that I would like easy tutorials. I think that I would totally try to do it myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm very, very picky. And I don't want to do back and forth. But I know what I want visually.
Just very quickly on domain names. Now there's the whole huge array of top-level domains, like .pizza and .anything you can think of just about.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, as far as I understand, like, you're going to pay $12 a year for a .com, and not more. A lot of these.
Should be like 7.
7. I'm giving the high estimates here. I don't want someone to say, oh, you said
If
it
you'd
was
like
6
some help,
and
I am
7.
an authorized domain reseller. I had nothing to do one day and
Cool.
I
I
get better
will,
than 12.
I will, I do
I can
also,
still
but
make a
again,
profit when you get
I'm
less than
trying
12.
not to promise the, what you're not going to find easily. Anyhow, again, most places you can get less. But it's a set rate. Like, some resellers charging a little upsell of whatever the rock bottom minimum that they have to pay to the registry. I got the name screwed up, but I'm hoping someone can explain that.
And some of
But
them
these
are-
other ones, the registry can change the prices later on. So I don't know if people know what the status is of each one, and if you can look it up, or
So
just
like
other
today,
thoughts on that.
.pizza can be $3, and then next year it could be.
If you
also,
register,
they
an
often
expensive
have
one.
introductory prices on certain registrars. They'll give you a discount, and you always have to make sure you know what it'll be next year.
It's like having cable.
I think that's one of the things that .com and the other.
.org,
Like,
.net.
well,
I usually go for
TLDs
a .us. They're pretty
Are
good.
well, people know how they work. There's enough
Sorry, you
other
guys aren't
providers
comfortable
that you can even transfer your domain name between domain
.co.uk is not expensive.
services.
I don't know.
So say you buy it with one domain.
No, it's the same thing. The local regional
Like
ones are pretty good.
Nani.net or whatever. like the SSL domain names. Later on, you can say, oh, I don't like them. I want to move it to, I don't know, some other domain name. And that's, for whatever reason, like you don't like their policies, their support, their price, whatever. And there's enough of those around that for domains like .coms that they make it more attractive. One thing we've done, a lot of people use.
Available.
So a lot of people
I
use.
just did .ninja domains now for under $20.
I'm a big fan of
That's
the
cool.
.computer.
Well, I considered .guru, but
Dot biz.
unfortunately,
I have Mark
I couldn't justify
I
.guru.
I
think
figured
I
I
like
was a guru of
the
myself.
Squarespace
Just
Just fine.
using
first
yeah,
use.
Yeah.
Because I don't
The
like
challenge with
this.
Squarespace is
they're
your content will be kind of stuck.
based in France, so but
Like
you
they don't
direct
do a
it.
good job of
We should
allowing
find
you
you a
to
cloud
move your
work.
stuff somewhere else.
It's a
And you
giant
end up
SNL
basically building a bunch of stuff, and then it's kind of like a site that, unless you want to keep paying Squarespace, you don't. Like you
So
gotta
if
learn how
I
to
wanted
hack
to
it
do
yourself.
my HTML5, then I would have to rewrite everything.
Very likely, yeah. So that's the trade-off with Squarespace, is that it literally caters to the exact need, the exact thing that you were saying, which was, there was an expression you used.
Dragging a picture from one side to another.
Like your picture here, your text here. They have figured that out, that is what a lot of people want. And their templates and their UI is so slick that you can create a website that, like, I'm not lying, literally within minutes. You get on there, you sign up, you pick a template, you drag and drop a few things, and you have a pretty nice looking site. So they're good at that.
I
What
think
they're not
people
good at
totally
is,
get
like,
stuck with that too. A couple mechanical engineers in the co-working space that I work at, like they're actually a company went to Squarespace and they just like spent forever like fighting with the WYSIWYG, the what you see is what you get, not quite being what you see, and like fighting with the spacing and like I'm just like
Okay,
I tell you how to do this in
then that's-
HTML, but I can't help you
Then I'm
with
clicking
Squarespace.
out of Squarespace.
No, you should definitely see how it works for you.
Like,
All these
I-
places will
try
give
it
you a
out.
free trial,
Yeah.
so it's not
Yeah.
it's worth actually playing
The
with
thing with Squarespace for me is I used for a family member was a website, and we tried WordPress and they didn't get on with that. We tried Tumblr and they didn't get on with that. And then we tried Squarespace and it did. And I was like, okay, yeah, it doesn't have all the stuff that I'd want on a website, but for them, yeah. I may have been optimizing for the least amount of work for myself, so
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
can be.
Helping people where you have to do the least amount of work is the best way of helping people. They're happy, you're happy.
Okay, so I guess I'll just fidget
Are you on
around.
GitHub, by the way?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Okay. So that's probably worth getting an account on, just because it's they have like their little edit UI I find to be really easy. And if ever there's a time where you wanted to at least just like experiment with code without putting it on your main site or anything, I think that GitHub makes that pretty easy with their GitHub pages. And it's free. So that to me is a very powerful element of
So that's a
GitHub.
place I can create a website on?
You can actually. Yeah, a lot of people do. And you guys host your website there, right? So
So we use
People
we use
from-
Jekyll as a tool, and GitHub is where we host both like the underlying code and the published version of the pages.
And GitHub can run Jekyll for you, so you don't
Right.
have to do all the things they're doing. You can just edit the post, and it will create a website for you.
But I have to know HTML.
Actually, Markdown. Have you heard of that? But it's slightly.
it's like wiki syntax.
Yeah.
Oh, I created the wiki page for my team.
Nice.
But it's not very easy. And it's not very pretty.
Yeah, and it also doesn't do the thing you want, which is like to be able to take a picture and like
Well,
it-
it's our lunch.
it represents everything as text.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I want it to be.
By the way, anytime someone like says a sentence where more than half the words are jargon, you should call them on it. I'm
Yeah.
totally serious. Because I saw that look on your face, Laura, and I was like, yep.
Yeah, no, but that's most of what you guys say is basically
Oh, and I'm
jargon.
not even trying. Think of how much jargon I could use.
That's my point.
Like even when you say like posting versus not posting or what you're like, it's just very confusing because there's so many things
Yeah.
that you guys are talking about that like GitHub, oh you can do this, and I'm like, I just want to know like Like,
So,
like,
Basically,
Like,
it's a different
just to-
language.
just to-
right, so
frame of
when's the
reference
last
here.
time you were in a different country, like, that spoke a language that wasn't the language you spoke?
Focus.
Right, pretty recently. And then you learned a few words in that language and you could start
and
to
you can't like
hear.
read the
Yeah,
word, like,
another
you,
language.
like you're in Asia and you like don't know how to read the
Right.
writing even, like.
That's the main point why I come to the events to get familiarized with the language.
So while it sounds like you're speaking English, you're not.
But in
That's
some
the
ways,
reality.
in some ways it's even harder because it's not just like the concepts are actually confusing underneath some of them. Like this space between the software and the host, it gets blurred when you're dealing with a platform like WordPress.com or even with Gnome. So like there should be a very clear distinction between this is the software that's generating my site and this is the service I'm paying to host that software. But when you're talking about Squarespace, those things are joined.
Yeah,
You can't say, I'm going to take my Squarespace style software and host it myself.
yeah,
Well, you can do that with WordPress and with Gnome.
that
With
was,
no.
that I understood. Yeah.
Well, why don't we start from a different approach? What thing do you consider yourself to be an expert at? So we can then use that as an analogy for anything. I want to relate something you're not familiar with something you're familiar with. So if one topic that you feel that you're very familiar with that we could use as an analogy.
Like event planning, I don't know.
Oh, that
Like
works.
this is like an event, like, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so
people-
so
Right,
we
I
don't
feel
know
like
anything
that's
about
similar.
okay, so when you are planning an event, you need a venue.
Yes.
So you have to talk to the
First
person
you
who
need a
owns.
budget, first you need
Well, no,
an
but I'm-
amount of people.
Yes, but I'm saying first
Oh, she's
in this,
right.
in this analogy.
You need a date, right? You need,
like,
you
you
need a
need to know what
budget.
you're gonna do.
Yeah,
Like,
so
why
I
are
guess
you getting
I
all
want
these
to
people
do,
together?
I want to do images, videos, text, and what's important to me is beauty and like easy flow. So I guess that's like location and
By easy
That's what
flow,
hosting is.
you
Hosting
mean
hosting is where
flow
you
for
want to have
or
your
flow for the person browsing your website.
flow for the person browsing, because I think that for something like Patagonia, you want words, but you also want pictures. Like this is what you're packing, because you could be at the store and you see your little stove and then you see the stoves they have there and you want to kind of make sure that your stove is either
Yeah.
comparable to the one that that person has,
Right.
or just by looking at it, not on going on aria.com and then having to compare and contrast or whatever. But kind of do it like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Like,
Like easy links, comments to me. Like I want to be able to link out to like the hostels that I go to, or
100% of the options that you could be presented to will allow you to link to things.
yeah,
So we're not. No, I'm saying that's a feature
Yeah.
that comes with everything. We don't have to worry.
yeah. To go back to the like event planning part, which I think is actually a really good one. Like, so yeah, you need to know what kind of like what do you want to do, like why are you having an event, which I think you just kind of outlined. But there's also like the questions around the venue, and some venues. Some venues have like their own crew, and they're like,
Yeah.
you're gonna rent our space,
Yeah.
but you're also getting our tables, our chairs, and you have to pay us
Yeah.
this much for the guys to like take cigarette breaks or whatever.
They must be union.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like there's all of those questions, or you just have like an empty space
Yeah.
that is gutted, and you're gonna figure out all the work. And that's kind of a very similar thing to what's going on here, which is like a tool like Squarespace. It's like you're renting the venue, but you're also it's like basically renting
and
a
the
cruise
party planner.
a cruise
Okay.
ship, or you're getting the party planner, you're getting all of that. With some of the other things, there's like you can rent the venue space, and we'll provide all this stuff, or you can choose a space, and we'll bring the stuff to you.
Yeah.
So that
You can use their catering, or you can order your own.
right. So that's kind of in order
I was listening.
those twirls.
I was
So,
listening, sorry.
yeah, but I think that's a similar way of thinking about when we talk about things like host. We're talking about sort of the venue package.
Yeah.
For things like I just want to write HTML, you still need a venue, you still need a place to put all that stuff.
As opposed to like the host of a meeting.
Yeah, but
Like the three
that's
of us are your hosts.
Right.
that's the venue where there are no walls and you have to put up your own sheetrock.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I think that's what we're trying to figure out. Is like based on what the kind of event you want to host and the amount of budget and work you have, like budget and kind of expertise. Like if you're hosting a bunch of, like, let's say a developer conference, you know you're going to have expertise about like the AV system and Wi-Fi, and you need all of that stuff. So I think what it sounds to me like, and I think a lot of us are kind of pushing you to, is we need to find you a venue that has a lot of stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
And things like that are Squarespace, but you can't sort of easily do, like, move out of Squarespace. There's things like WordPress or Known, which are a little bit easier to be to move around. Or there's like something like GitHub, where it's like a room with studs, and you have to put up the sheetrock and stuff like that.
It's kind of about the level of control you feel like you need. And the thing is like,
there one that I could start with a template, and then as I get better, I could like go in there
Customize
and
the
then
template.
say, I actually want to change this font.
Sure.
But for now, I'm happy with how it looks. But as I get more, because I
absolutely.
will like look at the code. Like I do want to learn, but I don't want to have to spend so much time learning on the front end. I want to learn as I go. Because I'm not.
Yeah.
So you want to start out with a venue that has your tables and chairs.
And then I can
But you
put
want
on
the-
flowers.
You want the option to say, okay, tomorrow I don't like this table anymore, even though they gave it to me for free. I'm going to throw that table out. I'm going to buy my own table.
Exactly.
This is a good metaphor. I should use it more.
Somebody's taking notes about this metaphor, right?
And then also, I don't know if this is important, but also like linking back to a main page, because I know that people's brains work extremely differently. Some people like to read through entire like days, while some people are only interested in the hotels or the food or whatever. So having a good way to link back, or like navigation through the website, because I learned that that's like a really big thing, is how your brain works and how you click to something or how you want to take in the information.
The problem there is that for most of the people here are doing kind of a blog personal site, which fits that kind of Twitter, Tumblr, blog model of just new stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's an informational site, you want an actual architecture beyond that.
But again, that's just a matter of presentation. If you have a bunch of different blocks, if you have a bunch of different blocks on a table, you can stack them and put them next to each other.
Yeah.
So as long as you have those different blocks, you can decide how they're actually presented to anyone.
To the end, to non-technical people, how that was all structured is exactly the difference between Squarespace and WordPress or Tumblr.
You have blocks. Anybody have blocks? You have blocks.
I do, but they're at home.
So I guess I'm just gonna noodle it by myself, and maybe at the end of the day,
I'm going to
I will
encourage
let
you
you guys know when I pick.
I'm going to encourage you to noodle on picking a name,
Yes.
because I think that's
Define your structure.
well, it's one of the hard things that's easy to procrastinate on. But if you make that decision of like, okay, I like this name, it's available, I bought it, then you have this feeling like, okay, I bought it, now I need to do something with it.
Yeah.
So it actually helps drive.
You say that, but I have a Vitamix that I've never eaten. So.
I just threw out a box of mashed potatoes from a supermarket that closed in 2010.
I'll trade you one of my unused domain names for Vitamix.
Wow, that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Depending on the domain name, that's a really good deal.
No, I don't have anything that's worth much.
Like, have you? I
Well,
mean,
if you're really desperate, I can give you a loaner. I have a few extra I'm not using.
I'm gonna check this.
Then I have those that I bought with my brother. Something about backsplash or something.
So just a question. As soon as you find a name, you pay for it, then you need to find a host, right? With like GitHub.
Laura.
And what else? GitHub too, actually.
Well, I might be changing my last
functionality
name
apart
too,
from
so
hosting.
I can't really use my name.
Is there anything else GitHub does?
So this is a really cool.
GitHub can run Jekyll for you. So if you have like a set of Jekyll templates and configuration, GitHub Pages is their service, and it will basically build your HTML for you.
Thanks again.
So if,
So
like,
just type in
that's a way to have a level.
I mean,
You certainly won't be able to do everything
I'm not
potentially
sure
with
with
Jekyll.
Jekyll. I'm not that with Jekyll. Jekyll actually writes the
Your static site generators, yeah. So it like takes your post written Markdown,
That just
simplified.
makes it like, I'm
Yeah.
just,
Okay.
this just makes it harder for
Simplified
people
markup.
to type.
I agree.
Right,
And
but that's the
will-
only difference.
And will automatically put
Well,
in
plus it
categories,
has to use
Doesn't
a-
say .com.
links for those
Right, it's just
categories,
yeah.
and the most recent one on
One of the things
top
that
or
we've
to
done
do a lot.
is
So when you run it through
we've
GitHub,
documented
can you do things like the tiny
on the
letter
wiki a bunch of different short domains.
plugin or not?
No, those are the type of thing that you have to run locally.
Okay,
So
yeah, like .me,
if
I
you
see a
just
lot
have,
of people's
like,
email addresses.
So like
a set of
using .me.
templates and,
And you can
you know,
see
a
please
set-
not
and
.pk
the associated
or
content. GitHub
and he's
Pages
like,
can build it out
like,
for you.
if there's a
But for
problem,
the types of things
the
that
registration
Mark are
is.
doing, we have to run that locally.
Well, also remember that these
Oh,
are
that's not
represented
small,
on the
it's-
server to
There may
send
be
out, like,
some, there may be
a
some countries
notification
that you don't want to
Sometimes
say
I
locally.
But then
It's
check it
like
out here,
on
people say, well, that's.
Yeah,
that's
just on the
technology,
laptop. And it's not,
Oh,
it's not, a
No more
s-
registration.
It's not a server because it's not
Wow.
So
running
we can
like
kind of.
like a piece of blog.
It's like a program.
It's a program that
Yeah,
you run to
experience.
sit that.
So
So
that
it's
we
like,
have to, like-
okay, I have this
That's so
post,
cool.
please
So that's the kind of
email it to-
research.
send it to this email list I
It's
set
like
up.
whenever people
That's
have
a
some
command
experience,
that
share it.
runs on his
So that the
laptop.
next person that comes along,
So
is like, I should not.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Maybe I'll blog about my experience of creating a website.
Okay.
Processes the
I might have to
text
just change my whole idea right now.
So after deciding all that and
There are problems with
The other
the
thing,
main
think
problem
about,
at the main
would
reason I
you-
use Jekyll.
Would you
It's
want
the
to
one
make
post from my
a
site.
page? So
So you still
you're kind
have
of
the
going
whole
to be
structure
like,
there.
oh, it's amazing, beautiful flow of
It's-
pictures. and
Jekyll is
words
really
and all
good
that.
if you're
Um,
if you're going to
My
write
guess
long
is you'd
form
probably be
content
incrementally adding to
occasionally.
it.
Yeah, like so, yeah, like I want, like
Yeah.
if I go and do some
And
shit. I
a
don't
lot of the
want
people in the Indieweb community start because they're
But
like,
even your Patagonia,
But
are you going to add to
Twitter,
it things like
Facebook,
pieces,
Yeah.
or write the whole thing at
No,
once?
no, piece by piece by
Whatever.
piece.
Right.
whatever it might be.
And that's probably going to be in time order, right? Or are you going to want to reorder it?
Just a little.
You don't have some other
There are plenty of
story.
people in the community who work in Python.
Yeah.
We have Ruby, we have,
I'll probably
I'm saying we have Ruby, we have Python, we have
by day,
PHP.
but I don't think
No,
that's
we have
an
people-
important factor
No,
because
uh,
everything's gonna be from
Glenn.
like day one of like the
That's-
circuit, like arriving.
I'm saying, we have a lot
Yeah,
of people
that's
who,
okay.
Yeah.
you can use whatever you
Point is
want,
that
find the
that
technology
actually
you feel like
evolves pretty
learning.
well
Yeah.
to what
And we have
almost
people who work in
almost
multiple
everyone else
languages.
does with like posting blog posts.
Mhm.
which is
So
ideal.
post
yeah.
and post the next one.
Not really, yeah.
Well,
I'm referring to multiple programming
Would
languages.
you, but you
Okay.
probably, you know, you want to maybe
that's what you're doing. But
in a different order?
the
Like,
point is that it's
start with day
supposed to
one and
not be a
have the
monoculture.
last day at the bottom?
It's not like,
Or would you want the most recent date at the top?
hey, everyone has to use this solution.
Yeah.
Some people want to use WordPress, some people want to build their own, some
Preparation
people want to use Jekyll.
on top.
But it's
Right.
finding
So
the
the-
core
the
principles,
early stuff,
the
yeah.
core shit.
Yeah.
So
Does
that's
WordPress
okay.
have
How
And that- that's-
yeah,
plugins for various
Well,
things? Does it have web mentions?
The very last
and
thing.
such? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that like
web
we do that
mentions
more
is a very basic
micro-page,
one.
like,
Yeah.
There's one
different-
that,
How we don't need
that
like
does
categories,
enhanced
but
So like if
that's
you,
cool, and then
if you
Of
want
web
to do
mentions
static
and
site
acts
structure
built into
Right.
based
So you might have your
to
kind
do
of
that.
Yeah, so, and then like one thing would be like day
there
by day
are
experience,
basically
the other one would be like just hotels.
anybody who's
But there's one, there are ones that
wanted
are
to
one
find
functionality
functionality,
that
Pages,
is a
pages,
people
then I like link them.
So,
So people
there's
can
a
either
chance
see them
I have a
all one after
plugin
the
that does
other,
different types
or
of
then people
posts
could like,
for WordPress.
well,
you wanna do
I like whatever
maybe
it
tools
is.
Yeah.
Whereas
Maybe
Brian
so that
Barrett,
you
who
can
runs
do
WordPress, marks it up by
Jekyll
hand.
with the ability
like, and I think that's why I
He's
like
built
this
with-
one,
he
because I
likes
saw like,
So I always had this conversation with him, what would it take to get you to,
like look at
It's
Are you
actually,
using the tool?
no,
Yeah.
only because I could understand, you know, my people not liking my approach and just Bryce, he wants to hand code it.
and then
This is
you
almost like
click,
gallery.
and then you click
And-
on my government,
No, he
and then it
came up
opens
with a
up
micro
their
plugin.
experience there.
Plugin for
So this is
WordPress.
basically an archive.
But I keep sending him pull
That's
requests
okay.
and driving others to the point to which he
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
won't let me send him another pull request until I write some unit tests.
Oh, yeah, that's
I have to
true.
learn how to write unit tests one of these days.
well, specifically.
And what I,
the
this is-
complexities.
are you thinking this kind of structure too, where you would have,
All that kind of stuff.
this is like a fabulously structured
Isn't it cool?
site.
Yeah,
where-
And then look at how everything, if you go down.
There's a lot of summary at the top, like first the summary description, and then a summary map,
And then when you click on all of them, that's what I mean. So click on like the tourist pane.
And then a summary itinerary.
Can I
Yeah.
see the permalink structure of some of the links? I'm just curious. So that one goes to place.
So click on it, and then it goes to the blog.
Yeah, and where do
They're all the
days,
same site.
where do the days go? Where they're talking.
So, but this is, look, so it does what we experienced in this whole area, and then more.
Yeah, I just want to see when there's a specific date, one of the date-based ones.
This is a date-based one. The date-based ones just have slugs.
Well, no, that's place-based.
No. Place-based has place/slug.
Yeah.
Or unless in the structure.
Mhm.
Site to see what they. So they basically took a WordPress, which is just a blog,
Yeah.
and they turned it into the thing that you like somehow, with a lot of coding, probably.
Well, actually, my guess, WordPress has two structures: posts, which are date-based, and pages, which are basically not. They're probably using pages for the places.
Click on the walked around town.
Yeah.
Like click that walked, and then
Oh, that link.
yeah, that's also a link.
So that's a post.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my guess is they
And then they
would.
have a link to like where they bought their dried fruit,
What's
which
this?
is within this small town
This
that you
is
can't have any
Google Maps.
information about. Yeah, which is
It's a
really
Google
cool.
embed map.
Is it? Or
Yeah,
is it just
They
like?
just put some post metadata of the location.
I guess I picked a really hard one to really like, but it doesn't have to be
You picked a
exactly
really
like
rich
this
one.
one.
Like
Yeah, no,
this?
it's good because a lot of us are just sort of playing around with.
But this is basically a blog post.
Yeah,
Like it has a title, it has an author, it has a date posted. This looks like a category, although I don't know, it's not linked or anything. It has a location that the post is about, which is different than the location of where you were when you wrote it.
yeah, which is really important in a place like in this area because there's not that many maps about it,
Yeah.
and everything's so small that you don't have a directory when you go there. So you want to know exactly on what corner of the street you're going to, because it doesn't really have a name, like you know.
We use the author location to indicate where you were when you wrote it, instead of the post location.
Is it being overloaded? I mean,
It's always been overloaded,
yeah.
but
But is it
we don't-
overloaded in this case?
I'm saying, we don't know because I'm not looking at the structure,
Yeah.
we're just looking at the meaning, which is that this is what this post is about, this place. The person might not have been there. Like Henry might not have actually been here at this point when he wrote this.
Yeah,
He probably wrote it afterwards.
yeah, no, totally, he did because they're still backdating everything. So
They're
they're, I mean,
backdating.
yeah, so they're only on day 5 or something if you go back.
So did he write this on this date, or was he
No,
there on this
No,
date?
that's when he wrote it, and I hate that part because I
Yeah.
was trying to figure out when they were there because
Yeah.
the month
You see
really
it says
matters
Patagonia
depending on how you get
Yeah,
on if you
Yeah.
bring your rain gear or not, and it was really
Right.
confusing because so go back,
So all you have to do to fix that
Back
is
to
set
the
the date. There's
itinerary.
a box
go
for it.
go to the days, go down.
No, you have to have a structure.
Oh,
Go
that's,
to day-
that's day one.
So day 4,
Yeah.
that's the last day that they posted, and then click on it. August 3rd.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's something that I really hated about that is that they're not telling you like what season they're going in because they went during the summer, but when I was looking at it, it said February 11th, and I was like, oh, I'm leaving on February 26th. So our experience, I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm like, oh, they're wearing T-shirts. Oh, they're wearing this, and then I realized that they're actually there in the summer when I'm going at the beginning of rainy season. And August is
someone writing this
actually,
down?
and August is actually their
I
winter.
thought somebody was taking notes.
I'm asking questions. Everyone should be taking notes.
I'm
You'll have to-
recording.
you'll have
I'm
to-
recording.
Find
it.
somebody to retroactively
Well-
do it from the video.
Yes. Well, who?
They're
who,
all online, so.
Yeah, and then August is actually their winter. Which, yeah, I don't know. And they haven't updated in a while, which is also annoying. I was so into it, and I was like, you stop at gate 2?
Well, this is
All
everything.
right,
you know,
well, I'm gonna pick on
if you
myself.
do it, if you do it while you're on
Because-
the actual vacation.
You can't, there's no Wi-Fi. There's,
No, I'm
there's
saying-
no,
Well, no, I'm not
connection.
speaking
No
specifically
connection.
for Patagonia. I'm saying if you go on a trip and you spend the entire time writing about the trip while you're experiencing it, you're really not enjoying the
No.
trip. Now, if you go back to the hotel at night, you're relaxing, and you say, okay, fine, I'm going to write something about what I did today.
Right.
No, I know, but
So I tried to do that.
it's just that it was so good, and then just to know that they,
Hashtag later.
because the last time they posted was August, and I thought that their website was so great and full of information, but I was like, if the last time you posted was in August, I know that there's not gonna be a day 3. Like, they're done. We're over it. It feels
Well, I
like.
might have the same problem, but I swear I'm gonna like take days off and finish this. This is
It's really
I
helpful.
took a trip in June, and I just finished the travel
It's like,
log 2
I
weeks ago.
see that website was the only thing that I read that made me
That's
feel a
the
little
normal
confident about my
when
trip,
you're
and that's
home,
why I
you
think
just
it's so
enjoy it.
important for me to do something like that.
so
I
here's
posted 1 or 2 pictures. I didn't do anything.
I did like I guess I've done 4 of these posts now. This is day 4. There's like 4 more days that have not been written.
Well, you have tomorrow too.
But basically, like, so this was written though not on the 4th day. It was written days after the 4th
Yeah.
day. This is the day it was written, which is what you were frustrated about.
Yeah.
But I just called it day 4. in my mind.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
But I guess you would
when.
say trip was taken within this an actual
Actual day.
So you
date.
probably want
Oh.
2 different things where you totally de-emphasize when it was posted,
Yeah.
if you put it there at all, and have a much bigger emphasis
Yeah.
of the day that
Well-
it's
Well,
about.
if you go back to what I showed earlier, I backdated something to 1999.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, you can.
So,
Yeah,
so
but you
why-
had written it out
No,
there.
but you had
that's
written
easy.
it in 1999. That's
No.
different, right?
well, I had written a text version. The version I wrote recently was me, included editor's notes from modern day me. So I don't know, does that count as today? Me writing and me, I noted what was actually written in 1999 and what actually I remembered that I had not put into my original notes.
Flickr for a long time made a distinction between the date the photo was taken and the date where it was uploaded.
Yeah.
So you would go in and be like flickr.com/photos/date-taken-2000 whatever. You could hack the URLs to find, well, I actually want to see the photos I took in 2006, even if I only uploaded them last week. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's, for a standard post that's published and updated. So the 2 terms that are usually used. You publish it on one day, and the last update was on.
If I take a photo 5 years ago and upload it today, did I publish it 5 years ago?
Well, I'm saying that's
No,
the
I took the
closest,
photo.
that's the closest analogy to it.
So I tried to resolve that by writing both a forward and then the actual log.
Yeah.
So the forward is written, I guess this is about day 4. So.
Oh, you put the ISO date there.
Right. Of the
Yeah.
actual-
So it'd be
right,
nice if there's a field for that. Yeah.
But I wrote the forward because I knew that the context was starting to like shear between when I'm publishing it, sorry, when I'm even writing it up.
What's ISO?
International standards.
Oh, sorry.
It's just like the way programmers write dates.
Yeah.
It's all years dash month dash day.
Which I'm sure you've seen before.
Yes.
It's the only sensible way. You put the biggest thing first and get more specific. But the rest of the world hasn't caught on. We're a very, very, very small minority.
Although, if you write a date in that way, the chances that someone around the planet will understand it are greater than any other way you might write the date.
Yep.
Because Europe does it differently than the U.S.
Yes.
and all that nonsense, right?
Exactly.
And the Japanese do it differently. But if you write it like
This is year,
that,
month, day.
yeah, specifically 4 digits, 2 digits, 2 digits, then
So, yeah, it's so different.
like you can't go wrong. Like no matter what country when you're traveling or whatever, if you always write dates that way, just get into the habit, people will understand it. I even sign my checks that way.
Yeah, I did too. I haven't been yelled at yet.
And contracts and stuff where they put the special.
You guys still use checks?
In the United States, we do. You don't
I signed up for a
with
new
the
bank account the
uniform?
other day, and it actually on the form it had an unticked checkbook saying, "Request checkbook." I haven't used one for
There is
the last 5 years.
a very
Once in
very
a
good
blue
use
moon, I
case
find somebody who
I
won't
do.
accept
for
I
it.
using
have
physical
to.
checks,
Yeah.
which is that by law, anyone receiving a check from you is required to treat it as if they received it on the date of the postmark that you sent it, not the date that they actually received it. However, if you send an electronic payment, then they treat it by date whenever the magic happens through the ether that sends an electronic payment. So,
Anyway.
if you're like late for bill or whatever, like literally the last day, because due today, mail it. because then they'll count it as if you did
Yep.
it on that day. So that is the,
You can also, I hear, bribe the post office to send stuff earlier.
I don't think so.
Like if you no, seriously, if you turn up at the post office at like 10 minutes past midnight, you just be like, to say the special yesterday.
at Her Majesty's Post Office.
I hear.
So I actually, like, because I found this problem to be so interesting, that I'm like, okay, I'm writing about why this was so hard for me to write. And then what did I do is I turned Wi-Fi off to try to actually finish writing a post. And I think, yeah,
Okay.
there you go. So I actually like typed about that too. So this whole thing of like, when is the post about versus when was it published? I think that's fascinating.
DT-about.
Is there a way to automate that?
What's that?
Automate, as soon as you're traveling, you're going through this, have a program that will, as soon as you take the picture, it goes automatically to a program or page, and you can record what your experience at that time.
It's just an issue of sync.
When you say record,
Record for voice recognition,
Okay.
and
but if you're with some friends and you're doing that, they would probably look at you like, what are you doing?
or you record
Look,
a conversation.
Look, you're seeing one of the seventh wonders of the world,
But
and you're on your phone.
Hipsters
But
with
it's a free
backpacks.
recording.
Is that available?
Yes.
You should get
It's kind of long.
I
Is
said
that too long?
Yeah.
hipsters.
I like it. I think it's like.
It's
just
really
a
what we
backpack.
are. I said
It's very
I want
precise.
to do BK goes backpacking,
I found you can actually get.
but we might move. We'll always be hip.
I found you can
But
actually
we're
get .rip domains, so you could have t.rep. You know, you could have like my backpacking .red, like delicious stuff.
I think that the hipsters was one spelled cool. No, that's too complicated. But I kind of like it.
Which one?
This one. That's
It's
not
not
available.
available.
Damn it! Who the fuck? I
Well, now you get into
want
the
so much cooler.
now
It's
you
so much
get-
hipper.
now you get into the logistics market of can you buy it from them? Trust me, once you get into that, it's
Where is it?
I have
Oh, it's-
one domain and I get all these emails. Well, I have a domain that's one letter off from your domain. Would you like to buy it from me? No, I don't. If I wanted that domain, then I would have asked you.
Yeah.
But the recording thing, this program or app, whatever you want to call it, I find something I miss when I'm traveling, something that's taking the picture is preloading a page before I actually release it somewhere.
Yeah, this.
Is there anything like
This.
that?
Why is
This
Like saving it as a draft.
Yeah.
What is this? It's the guy from Bob's Burgers.
Because your authority is not
This is
recognized
the my hipsters with backpacks done differently. This is the website. This is
Yeah, it's kind of a draft or. You can
Yeah,
have
there-
stuff that's published but not quite synced up yet. So it's kind of way to fix that.
I want to just create websites like this.
Entertaining little
Yeah,
videos.
that just bring people to weird things.
About the bug.
And how politics is spelled.
That's
Look
good.
on. It's taken, and then look at where it brings me. It says nope on top.
That's very interesting me, because your authority is not recognized in for chickens.
Where can I get one of these New York Mozilla stickers?
I have them. I think I got them made.
We should get some.
Okay, I'll put them out. Okay, I'm just gonna do the other one, I guess, because these hipsters took it for no reason.
Hipsters stole my domain.
But the other way
Sounds
that some
like
people
thick
do
kids.
that, if you have your camera hooked up with
Okay.
a pretty accurate timestamp,
Wait, what?
you
It's
can
just
record your
black box.
GPS
I'm really
coordinates on a
upset about
phone and then
I
sync
think
the
it's
two
big
up.
'cause I can't
You know where
have
you were
it.
at that time.
Yeah.
There's a program that has an app for Android,
Like
and
hipsters
so it's an
backpack.
iPhone app as well, that pairs with the
Look at these
camera
hipsters.
and it basically cross-references,
I like hipsters
keeps
with
the GPS
backpacks.
log,
That sounds like it could
And
be
then
somebody
crop-
they, like,
then
are you selling
take-
backpacks for hipsters?
merges that the location information
No.
into all your photos afterwards.
Backpacking.
So you don't have to have
Even
the two
hipsters
constantly
backpack.
connected. you just tell the phone to start recording GPS in this app.
See which one looks
And then
best.
afterwards,
How about
you
tips
hook the
to
two
go,
up,
and then
and
backpacking could be like
it'll stamp all the
Oh.
pictures with the user with the camera.
But before you publish, you can actually
Ooh.
untick that. Or
That one's taken.
can you
Damn it.
decide
I hate this.
or
Like
like
an
time
iPod.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the
What's that mean?
You can,
Sorry.
once you putting in data,
The thing
means
that
you
comes
can
out
Google
dots
later.
and com, is it up
You didn't
to
actually
the
post
public
anywhere, it's still
Oh,
privately
so that's what I
held.
just want?
If you put
That's
upload
available?
something to the
Yeah.
internet,
What?
Guys,
and you don't
taking all
make it
these pictures and
shareable
buying
until
them,
somebody
and they'll be selling
notices
for a lot of money.
So it turns you
so there's a
Google,
possibility
but
that some people
I don't know.
find something you have up
So this
there.
is like
Actually,
saying,
link
where
to
do you
it
$12 a
shows
year.
Where do you want to
how
buy
many
it?
notes
Like at Google or?
Interesting. Do you know
Where should I buy it?
this program?
Glad you
Well, it
asked.
depends on what
Yeah.
model
We-
cameras, different
Oh,
cameras.
okay.
I have a wiki page for that.
I love
So
the
I had a
hipsters go.
Panasonic
It's such a
Lumix,
good idea.
and I looked it up
What
before
is
I
that?
bought it, they had an app.
Instead of doing
It
hipsters
basically
go
does that.
backpacking, do
But you
hipsters
could also do
go.
it manually. I think there are
.com,
programs
and
where,
then you
which
can
will do
create
GPS
different-
logs, and then you move both those stuff to your
Like-
computer.
But you can put like
Yes,
Yeah,
don't take
this
it.
for
It's
media,
mine.
it has.
It's hard. You could
There's a lot of hipsters
I
ones
was
available.
rather taking pictures and.
You could actually have like
I'll sell it.
slash to Brazil slash to London.
Yes.
Most camera phones actually will merge that into the picture
What's
automatically.
the,
There's usually a
.to
setting
still-
there to turn it off if you want to.
who is
I
dot
prefer
to?
to turn it on personally.
No.
I don't care, unless I'm taking a picture of my house, why do I care where I was?
There's actually an offline.
By the way, you have
Yeah,
a camera
Tom,
in your front door.
There's an offline map
showing your
app for like downloading documentation,
yeah.
How many you have around the house?
and I've been trying to.
That's the only one.
There's only 200 of these
It's a running
Oh.
joke.
in,
In
in the world.
My
so
landlord
enjoy.
also happens to be my mother, and
And
she
they
moved
could
to Florida,
illegally.
so I had this running joke
Well, did too.
The
where
person I
I
am.
hooked the
So
garage door
I'm
of the
gonna
building
put a couple
up to the
URLs,
internet,
so.
and she started getting alerts on the
Why
garage
couldn't
door.
it be hipsters
So she kept
dot
calling me, I know you must be coming or going because the garage door just opened.
Yeah.
I said, well, if you really want to know, I'll put up a camera. So she basically,
So the people that
We
stop
kept escalating it.
names providers.
what's the weather? Okay, I'll
really-
put a weather station outside for you.
Yeah, I like that.
Or registrars. That's the
Okay,
official
oh
name
yes,
of the
I saw that.
registrar. And then.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. And it's not gonna be like my Vitamix, actually, is it?
Have you considered donating
Can
your
you take a
vitamins?
I'm
picture
trying
of
to
this?
like talk and type into the.
This is too
Hold up the credit card so it can be seen on the live. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
They used to use Twitter account. Just find people's credit card numbers off Instagram.
Or on Twitter. And
Yeah.
retweet them.
They'll just tweet the pictures off Instagram like, hey, here's my new debit card.
Why would somebody do that?
All right, folks, now we're at domain name registrars.
I
So-
use my license.
Who has
Picture.
uh, different domain name registrars they like?
I am personally partial to me as a domain registrar.
So are you
Go-
listed
go
on
to Pinterest.
indiewebcamp.com/domains?
Are you on the, yeah, are you on domain
Actually,
name
no.
registrars? Then why not?
I set myself up as one, but I've
Aren't they
never
all the
actually.
same?
No, they're pricing ones.
So why are they different? Let's talk about this. This is important.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is almost like why phone companies are different.
Okay, but we can't take too long because I don't want something to tangle.
Okay.
So,
So quick, 30 seconds around the room. If you had to pick a domain name registrar from scratch, that you, from everything you know, best one for a new person.
I've heard, I don't use it, but I've heard lots and lots of good things. If I did choose one, that would be Hubbard.
Okay. Anything?
Namecheap or EasyDNS.
Anybody else?
I use Gandhi.net because they're European based and I need to, when I'm doing cloud work, it needs to be Europe based.
I've heard good things about Gandhi.net also.
Yeah.
Like lots of good things. Anybody else?
I like Gandhi.net,
I'm not gonna
but
endorse
it's
You like
harder to
Gandhi.net?
use. It's harder to use.
It
hard
is,
to use?
it's hard to
It's like
use,
all
but
of
the
Their
support
cus-
in Harrison.
Yeah.
Customer support is.
Customer support is great and
Yeah.
That's
have
great.
really like great policies, but
Yeah.
their registration process is a little confusing.
So
So-
that's okay because we can help with the process.
Right. In that case, I go with Gandhi.net.
Right. That having
can you
better
put Laura
customer
again
service.
just cheerfully in there, please?
Their stage directions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called asterisks.
Except for the fact that I didn't see you dancing
So
Sherpa.
now you can.
Aaron said on
Dancing
It's
Sherpa is also
Name-
really
name
fun
Chief
domain name. Let me
Gandhi,
see if it's available.
Aaron posted an answer saying name Chief Gandhi get my vote.
I have so many more.
So there you go.
I use Namecheap as
I'm
well.
addicted.
We were trying to warn you.
And now you understand how
When they're having a sale, they can get.
Welcome to the self-help group.
Dancing Sherpa is available.
Oh my god.
Well, you know you can have multiple domains pointing at the same place.
That's, a lot of us do that. We go to buy a domain name, we just redirect it to whatever our primary site is until we think of what.
Sherpa Party.
You can also buy
Sherpa
domains
dot
and redirect
party.
them to other people's. I registered
This is so fun.
completely.
You do realize that if you keep doing this, one of us at the table other than you will buy a domain.
Oh yes, sorry, continue. Let's get my domain.
Oh no, hipster stole my domain name. You tweeted that?
I
That was me.
Did. The person next to you retweeted it. Got it. Very good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for illustrating how social we are.
Okay, I'm gonna do Gandhi.net because I have you guys to help me.
Thanks, Gandhi.
Please.
I moved away because
Let's just go to.
when new TLDs were public, they were slower.
Yeah.
Basically, you guys should go buy a
They've
domain.
gotten out better about
Generic Americas?
doing like,
Oh,
like
promos.
the land rush
Oh, I don't know. They did.
registration stuff like that.
I didn't read. I just got so excited.
Oh, so it looks like they're offering a discount if you register for 3 years, which is probably not a bad thing to do because it's not that much more.
Okay.
Right? What happens if you say that?
I'm just tempted right now to pull up a list of the 37 that I have.
Do it.
Yeah.
Leslie?
So do I just go next?
Well, no, I have a bunch that I bought with my brother
Who
in
has bought a
projects we
domain name
never
for
did.
Gandhi.net before? Anybody?
Hipsters
My brother
go
could
down
talk
NYC.
people into buying anything.
And you
So you just pick which one do you want?
It's in a priority.
Okay. So you can go ahead and click order,
Hipsters go is not.
and so now,
I'm sorry, it's amazing that it's taken.
since you haven't ever, you need to create an account with that, so go to create an account.
Here we are. I am a co-owner in ceramicbathroontile.com. Still don't know what he wanted to do with that. My brother,
Yes.
no, my brother, thought we were
Easy
going to
to
do
remember, so
some
you can
content creation a few years ago in Bristol.
I registered a few years ago. I registered completelyheterosexual.com, and basically my plan was every time there was a big sex scandal involving a senator or a politician, I just redirected to their website.
You mean you were going to make it a feed of their websites?
Effort. That requires coding. It just requires some DNS on
HTML page.
How about kitchen_idea.com?
it.
Kitchen_idea.com.
Not the Bahamas.
Okay.
Well, actually, I have, when I buy it for myself, a different
How long
question.
this process usually takes?
How about 30K140?
Well, she's creating an account.
Yes.
Gandhi.net. So
The
that's-
Twitter
Do I
clone
want
for
the
aviation
newsletter?
enthusiasts.
Do I want anti-spam?
How's that for an idea?
Sorry?
Yes.
That was the idea that we never actually did.
Private domain
Twitter clone for
registration?
aviation enthusiasts.
Yeah,
30K
so
140.
that people can do if you buy a domain, they can look you up and see who you are part of buying a domain. It's like putting in your address. And stuff like that.
So yes,
So you can
private
This
domain.
is
private
this is a
domains.
free service
Yeah.
with Gandhi, so I,
Selling.
Some domain registrars
Yeah.
charge extra for the private domain registration.
That should be the
I don't mind. I love people contacting me and asking
you should,
stupid questions.
You should.
but
How many pages? Just how
yeah,
how many
like-
pages?
17.
Oh, great.
Oh, you can leave it open. And
I don't know. This just reminds me of those
Yeah.
old suitcases where everybody would have the stamps of the places they
I
went.
mean,
Okay, that's
you
good.
should, but
New York is next to the Apple. That makes sense, right?
Well, it is a
Do you
big
see the
apple.
Firefox on the top of the Flatiron building?
What? No.
Yeah, it's on there. You actually look, it's a Firefox.
Huh? That's nice.
so this right here, this LF4677-Gandhi,
Mhm.
that's going to be your username when you log in.
Great. So
Wait, what? With all that stuff?
Yeah. So you just need to to put in the first part. It'll just ask you for the LF 4677 part. So this is all fine. Again, it's going to ask you to read through and accept the contracts.
They will all have some form of that.
Right.
It's the usual.
Yeah. I'm just gonna.
And stuff. Yep. So
That's
now you're
it?
getting.
That wasn't hard.
Yeah. So at this point, it's easy.
Oh.
But now that you have an account with them,
Yeah.
you keep buying domain names.
Oh, don't you
Right.
ask me.
Sorry, gotta catch them all.
All I want for
Well, you know.
Christmas.
Are there like domain name gift cards where you can be like, wow,
That's really nice.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be out, same as there should not be cookie
I have my
cards.
first, no, I don't have my first domain name. No, I'm just a part of Gandhi. No, do I have my first domain name?
So you just get payment for the domain name. So
See, I don't even know what I just
you
did.
just got a receipt.
yeah, so
Okay.
you got a receipt.
What's going on here?
That's yeah.
I want you all to, you should take a screenshot of this, by the way.
Can I see?
Yeah, look at the bottom.
Can I,
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That's nice.
You want to project it?
Yeah. That's my one issue with Gandhi right now is
Yeah.
that it's you get a receipt, but it doesn't tell you that you've actually succeeded going through the registration.
Oh, we took your payment. Thank you.
Yeah, we took your payment, and you'll get an email notification that it went through.
Okay.
But it's not like
But look at that.
go back into the
Section bar
domain
color.
your account.
Yeah, section bar, and dude, click away.
Yeah, and then there's the CSS that shows up.
Transact-
Actually.
Really
You can-
secure feeling.
Yeah.
It's authorized.
The .dll at the end of your no, don't show on the thing. It's got.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. It has to
It's got the last
We're-
one.
oh,
Sorry for those of you at home. We're going to have to sanitize this before it maybe.
I have a screenshot though, so.
Yeah,
we
so
can,
just if you
You
could
can
sanitize the screenshot.
Perfect.
All right. So if you go
Wait, that was for how many years?
3 years.
3 years.
Okay. So
Which one did you end up buying finally?
Backpackers Go or something.
Hipsters go.
Hipsters Go, yeah.
Which
Sorry.
So when you,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
But this is-
surprised. I'm
what you do
surprised
is
that one's
on
still
the-
available.
On the URL, right?
It's a hipstersgo.to.
.com.
With the URLs in there, you could have like hipsters.go/2/Brazil, hipsters.go/2/France. or
Well,
whatever,
don't
right?
forget subdomains. Patagonia.hipstersgo.com.
Okay, so it's created.
If you want more in
So now I can
creative
just
URL
put it
design.
into.
Well, you know, maybe it should have been a .com. Maybe it should have been.
into this
Maybe it should have been a .to.
Let's see what happens.
If
Go back to
there's
the domain name. Go back to the Gandhi
Oh,
page.
this is the domain name.
So you got the email there.
Yep.
But let's go back to the domain. Here we go.
And this is the. Oops.
So if you just
Wait, you just close something here.
yeah.
Command Shift T.
You pay for.
Should open the most recent tab you closed. You know about that.
No.
Firefox.
Wait.
So now
Oh no, we
Just
have.
two separate-
should.
where you host
The empty separate.
registering a domain. You can register a domain and not do anything else.
So I try to register for that one too.
try to go to domain names and see if it shows up. Just so
And then when you want to do something with it, you point the domain over to like let me show you.
Why is your completely heterosexual?
It's it's in my Candy account
yeah.
actually.
So it has been registered now.
Cool.
So if you scroll back up to the top, you're going to want to go to my
I have
account.
a few things actually. I have got 5G.
Okay.
Thank you, Molly, which is a
Thank you, Molly.
website for Molly Holschlag. Completelyheterosexual.com.
And so now it's confirming.
Oh, look, it's yours.
It's yours. So this is the
Click on
domain
it.
name is associated with your account.
Oh yes.
I was going to set it up and it should be a counter for the number of days since they died.
So this is the
But that's it.
configuration for your domain name.
Because I thought it would be funny, then I
You
realized
created
it would be
it.
So this
text-less.
is on the server.
Anyway, those are
Yes.
the ones I've
This is on the domain name registrar.
How does
So,
it click?
yeah, so this is on Gandhi's website. This is not
So
actually,
this is
like, if you were to
the
type in
registration.
hipsters.go,
I was
Fine.
Or
just.
hipsters-
Next.
yeah, you'll get,
Here. I'll do
February
this.
2017.
What is it?
Um,
How do I not do
and
that?
then go down here and you see like,
It's all. I don't know. It's.
you see the main
you're,
server here.
like, at this point, you're not going to get anything
Oh.
load.
Yeah.
But you would, like in a little bit, you'll just get like a placeholder page that's like,
Zone file,
you know,
other file.
this domain name has been registered, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
So route the traffic. Whereas like,
So then I'm like, now I have to
Do
pick
you
the
use
ones
that
I
when
think it, then
you
there's
are
gonna be.
holding someone?
Sometimes-
Yeah, you could go with WordPress and say, or
I've been still trying to figure out what
Who
to
has,
do
who
with
has it with
GNU.us.
right now?
He does, Ben.
Ben, would you mind putting your with known
Sure.
site on here so I can just look at it?
What do you need,
And then
HTML or DVI? I mean,
We have all different types of things.
have HTML?
Do a bunch of different things.
HTML is probably the most likely.
I definitely have the regular thing.
Hold up.
You meant the analog?
VGA.
Yeah, we have it around
We
here.
have HTML, but
It's just gonna.
you don't have HTML?
It's like a
Yeah,
copy
yeah.
thing.
Lenovo
The website's
should.
pretty cool.
Oh, we don't know what year this Lenovo is, it might be free. This is a
2000.
T410, right?
Right there, and then there's like.
420?
This is
Oh,
as
what
far as
does it say on the bottom?
Pretty good.
On the bottom when you lifted it up.
Seriously?
Yeah, you can-
Do I kid?
Whoever sold it to me doesn't know what it is.
No, that's why I asked.
That's hilarious.
I'm so excited. I'm like gonna be addicted.
Yeah, I had
I wanna
unfortunately
buy all
when it
these
was
things
new,
now.
and then I needed it died, and instead of
Well, I keep buying
actually getting a new
these
thing, I
sub,
just bought a $200.
I keep buying these sub $200 computers. The problem is, I bought this great sub $200 computer, except only 1 out of 10 times will it boot.
It's not a comp.
When you invest the money.
You think they're not common?
It's really annoying.
Do you know how to switch the source to the non-HTML?
You did it.
Yeah, so if you click on the iPad.
Oh, I forgot, it's the,
Click it.
It's managed
Done.
by.
It should switch in just a moment.
It's
There you
managed
go.
by Gambit.
So that's
That should be
apparently
it.
another
No,
desktop.
it says HTMI.
Well,
Yes.
Is it?
So you're in there.
Okay.
because whatever this is connected to is translating it to the HTML. to-
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it.
I guess that's
And it's called Rabbit Rabbit?
No, this is my girlfriend who hadn't gotten started with it. She's got another thing she wants to do where she wants the actual content of the site to change.
I think it's probably one of the best domain names bought at Indiewebcamp.
We have a list.
Domain names bought at Indiewebcamp?
Yeah.
We should.
We definitely should have that list. So yeah, so I'm actually paying for Pro, but I haven't told it to use my domain, but it could.
How much is Pro?
Nobody steal my password of all round circles.
That's right, what's your password? Round circle, round circle, round circle. Because no one would ever guess that.
So if you were to post something, you would say post.
Yeah, so I mean, I actually should have done it. It showed you like, so this like, it gives you the screen when you're logged in is slightly different. Like this, what you saw was when you saw it, but it's the same thing after that. It's just all your posts, and all my posts are sized for Twitter because that's the lowest common denominator. But if you look at where it went, it will have gone to Twitter, and I can look at it there, and Facebook, which I haven't gone to in a very long time. So people think I'm on Facebook when I'm just showing stuff to it, which is not so cool. Or LinkedIn. Yeah, it'll actually work. Yes.
That's what's really sweet is
Yeah.
that
It says it so like, and then if I accidentally go too long and Twitter has to link to it, it just will. And that's one thing I wish we was a little bit better at letting
Can
you
you
know.
add, like, if I was going to a hostel and I was writing a post about it and I did like add whatever, would it?
That would work.
How would you say
Whatever
connect
public-
to there, the hostel
Well,
thingy?
on Twitter,
Yeah.
it would automatically link to them on Twitter. On LinkedIn, it would just say at something. It looks sort of silly
Yeah.
and same on Facebook, but
But
you know,
people
people
understand
know
that.
what at is now, so they know like they try it on Twitter. And same on here, it would link, but it would be there. So yeah, so it sends it to the other types of content, and they do a good job doing it. And it's got a bunch of built-in content types that I mostly just use the status update. But there should be a couple. So I can go to the front page again, filter content.
So your front page shows all your notes, but you can also look at
Yeah, I think you can configure what your front
your
page shows.
articles, and then you can
Yeah.
show your photos.
Yeah, there probably won't be any.
So basically, you.
That's a good
never seen
screenshot. Oh man.
Well, is that because the universe is not 8 minutes old? I mean,
Well,
Misleading metadata. Somebody probably uploaded it with the wrong data to get around the copyright pattern. So they probably uploaded it as my cat video, and it's the Nazi video from the last title.
Have I done anything from locations? No, nothing at all.
He's a nice guy.
I'll do it right now.
You went to my high school.
His TV company.
Oh wait, I have to tell my
Yeah,
tell Firefox to share my location, and now it
Oh, look at that.
finds me.
so this is a cool thing
Why not?
that, especially since you're going on a trip, you may want to take into account. That is that Known has check-ins by default. Like, it just comes with the ability to create a check-in.
I'm working on it.
I know, that's great, but this is someone who wants to get started using it immediately, right?
Okay.
Without having to install anything. So I think that's
Apparently,
criteria.
it thinks I linked up Foursquare at some point. So
Or it might just be the Foursquare venue database.
No, it's
I don't think it
that's
would
just
show
check
that. Yeah, it would. Yep. It would. I don't think it would. No one would have shown that unless I
Actually had it.
unless I had it.
huge here in New York City,
Although
because it's New York City startup.
maybe not.
Yeah, I use Foursquare a little bit.
So
Yeah,
let's
so you know what it's
Yeah.
about.
Well, it goes back to the,
You can actually
people really want
just
to
like
know
you
what
can
bagel
post
shop
your
you spend most of your time at.
You can.
I don't know. I've used it in London and seen that somebody's just
I think
arrived
that I
at the
would
airport, and
eventually,
like,
if
okay,
I
you haven't seen
like
for a while.
doing like the blogging thing, that I think that I would probably eventually do
I know,
that,
I usually just
like with
presume
restaurants and stuff.
Checking in for when I really
So
think
here's
somebody would
what's
care.
useful for your trip. Every time you actually like just go to a location,
Like I'm at
you can just
Indiewebcamp.
check in there.
But I won't
Just-
have Wi-Fi at most of my locations. I'm literally off the grid for 12 days. Like,
Offline check-ins, we need to
like
solve that
living in a
problem.
tent.
So there's some interesting issues around that. But I mean, the main thing is
Can we add that
keep
to
the
Oh,
the,
PPX
look.
log. Keep the
Guys
PPX
are
log.
forward.
can we add that to the, we have a location-based discussion later.
Yeah, later on. Yeah.
Make a note to.
Put it, you can put an Etherpad, any of us can. So when you say can you, you're talking to yourself.
Yeah, but I'm
You can.
monitoring the video.
That's no excuse.
Everyone's multitasking. So just, Lars, if you want to, the really cool thing about Known is the number of service integrations it allows. So it's hooked up to a bunch of Facebook pages that I'm on, and my one Twitter profile.
So what does that mean that it's
That means I can send any of them.
okay,
Going back to that, like, what else is in there?
Exactly what you
LinkedIn,
said,
you
but
can
I
keep
want to
adding
log
more.
into a bunch of different.
yeah.
Yeah. And so when I'm, making a status update, I can choose to send it to any of.
Oh, so instead of just sending to your Benjamin one, it would just send to your friends of foster
Yeah,
care.
if I wanted to do that kind of thing, and that would make more sense
Oh.
to, and so with Known, I think it's really lightweight on like the categorizing. So you basically, I think, just like use a hashtag to categorize things. But if I wanted to, if I wanted to link to, do a bunch of posts about foster care, I just hashtag them, and then people would be able to click on those hashtags. Right?
Could you have numerous pages that like link to this one page?
Like, so
Like,
all of those
what I don't
places-
want is just to have like one page. Like I want to be able to click into other pages.
Yeah.
You need to do that, that's right.
I have it.
No, you don't.
No,
Oh.
Twitter.
Okay, I'm gonna create a Twitter now too while I'm at it.
No one at home beat her to it.
Oh, excellent. What?
That's the fun thing about live broadcasts. If you watch some of the more popular ones, somebody talks about getting a domain name or a Twitter account, and somebody
Done already. Yeah.
That's why there's supposed to be a tape
5-minute delay, right? And was it like in US radio always had like a 10-second delay?
Yeah,
Did somebody swear?
Yeah,
Like a
it's still
2-minute delay in case they need to register.
in case someone says a domain name, because that's like far worse than saying a swear word.
Yeah.
But it happened the other day. I was watching. I was actually doing a recording to see if Kevin Marks had mentioned Indiewebcamp New York City. He made an appearance on This Week in Google, and they were talking about domain names and Twitter accounts. I think somebody bought one while the show was going. It was what, Backcuts Beard or something.
Would you do that
What?
if you're watching?
No.
Okay.
Check it out.
I don't have the patience. Because I feel if I sign up for a domain name or
Yeah, seriously.
a Twitter account as a joke, then I actually have to.
Do something with it, yeah.
I did once know the person who got the where
So you
is
can
Hosting
choose what gets
.com
published on the front
domain
page.
to ask where hosting
Oh,
are.
This is slick.
Yeah. So like, and so it's sort of an interesting way of categorizing. But if you feel like no status updates just shouldn't go to the front page, then it's only this. But as far as I know,
Like if you only want like photos and like your big posts about this awesome location to go to
Yeah.
your homepage, right? Like,
Then where would the other posts go to the second
under
page?
this filter content field.
yeah, they're all
But you can create different pages on this.
Oh, by the way, we're up to 4 live
You
viewers.
can, but I don't know. I think you may, I think that might actually take some writing of code, or at least a little modifying your theme to do it. I'm not an expert at this. I just
Okay.
didn't set it.
But there's automatically a page that has all the stuff of each type.
Yeah.
There's a page of photos. There's a page of long articles.
Yeah.
So if someone wants a page of check-ins.
I'm working
Oh,
on it.
themes. Ooh.
That's my writing.
Oh yeah, they have come up with some nice themes. So the co-founder of Node is a designer, and she's done a lot of great work here.
So, switch my theme right now.
This is all the writtendown.com one, right?
Yeah.
It's saying it's not available. Oh. Oh,
We did it.
let's go.
Oh, uncheck. This is like get you to follow.
Yeah, it's trying to get you to buy tons of domains at once, type of thing.
No, there's a Twitter account. It's trying to get you to follow, Oprah.
Follow me on Twitter, everyone.
I'm there.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the different templates. Themes. No, not no. With no themes.
Ah, okay. So
So you can add new pages.
yeah, so you can add static page and you can add categories. I'm very sorry for doing a very bad job showcasing what Node can do, because
That's new. I haven't seen that before.
It's pretty nice. It may be a pro feature, but pro isn't very expensive.
But that's what you're on, right?
Yeah,
That's what you're
yeah.
looking at.
Yeah.
The pro one.
So what you're saying
Pro
is that
also
you
does
don't know
domain
everything
hosting.
about no.
So that
So it's like one.
when you
It
get
should be
Pro,
known, but
you can just tell them to handle hipstersgo.com and they will be like up and running in minutes.
And how much are we talking about? Just have an idea.
It's $90 a year, I think, right?
Okay.
$100 a year or $10
Yeah.
a month if you prefer to pay monthly.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Which
I
is
suggested that. Pretty good.
Where's the themes?
go to site configure.
If you're
not-
site
there, yeah.
configuration, yeah.
Oh, before you buy, where are the themes?
They need to get
Ah,
better
that's a good
at this.
point.
And is there any limit on how
I want to
much
see examples of other ones.
stuff you put on?
No.
No?
Yeah. I mean, they've got some kind of a data limits unlimited for the Pro. Yeah.
I didn't even, like, when I did,
But I mean, this whole thing
for
goes
WordPress,
weird
like,
by
great
pages,
WordPress
it makes no
websites.
sense. Once you have the capability of creating
and there's
pages,
this whole
it's like.
I understand
list
people
of
saying you
full
can only
ones,
post so many pictures
But when I
and
do
videos. That takes a lot of
with
space.
Node, there isn't.
Pages on a website take almost no space. nowadays.
It was 1998 when I tried to open my first
So
page
you
and
enjoyed great
they asked me to pay per
Node
page.
sites.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I gave
I
up.
got
Now I'm
there's
coming
still-
back to it.
There's no places doing that. It's crazy.
Now I'm coming back.
I'm pretty obsessed with the idea of making a static site generator, like using an existing static site generator, but instead of having GitHub as the back end, having just making it much more inviting to people. So you have that no security issues of flat HTML, really geared for designers to be able to do nice things with it. Bring that capability to people where
WordPress ones are
say,
actually
give me
cool.
$500 to make a website, and someone can actually do it, and it's sustainable for the developer, it's sustainable for the host, and it's sustainable for the person who actually gets the website instead of like it getting hacked after.
And you can use that for business as well, payment, all sorts of, you can do anything with it.
WordPress can run longer.
With static sites, probably
Yeah,
there's
there's
limits,
Can you
but
show the themes again?
yeah.
Let's answer your question by
Yeah,
by
just
cheating.
looking here, yeah. We're not cheating, we're,
Default theme.
can you click on the default theme just so I can see it? Oh, and I don't need to enable it. Can you use preview?
No, it doesn't. It can switch easily. Hold on, let me, apologies for opening Chrome just so I have, I can use private browser, right? Anyway. So this is the default. So, extremely clean. And, it's gonna fill the content.
And is your name always on the left there because that's how you wanted it to be, or does it always have?
Don't think, I mean, I think that's going to depend on the theme. And again, you could, so when it's hosted by them, like you've got these themes, you could probably ask them to host another theme or to have, you probably just host another theme.
Let's look at OK.
Or you can host
That one looks
yourself and
interesting.
modify it on the side. Yeah, it's got the actual types
Oh,
in
my
there.
Firefox crashed.
Well, that's pretty.
And so I should really like add a page and see what that does to it.
Dead now. Which tile server is that?
I feel like this doesn't have like the
Leaflet
level
and
of.
OpenStreetMap.
It's done, yeah.
Leaflet.
And did you say that this is really
Leaflet
easily
is
like
the
manipulated,
JavaScript.
or?
No. So I mean, I think it is pretty easy, but then you'd host it yourself to make design changes. As far as I know, there may be some capability for doing that in the host.
So unlike Squarespace, with Node is a service that if you want to move it to someplace else that runs Node, you can.
Or to somewhere else. There's the
Up to your
export
own.
data button right here.
Right. Well, that's what you would do.
Oh, export to WordPress.
Yep. So not a bad idea starting with Node.
Then you'd have to pay for both Node and WordPress.
No.
Just export, basically, take a file and move it over. So then you got rid of Node,
Got it.
and it works. I think don't they allow import from WordPress? I think also. There's an import button.
Yep,
So can
there's
you
the
click
import
there and
button.
let's see what?
Yeah, they should accept RSS.
Yeah. Then no, they use a standard WordPress export format and a Blogger one. So.
Experiment.
Well, that's mostly because they don't have the post types, so everything would show up, I think, as an article.
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't. I mean, WordPress used to be just posts and pages, and Node has that, and now there's more types of.
Yeah.
Why is that Node?
I have.
You mean WordPress doesn't have all of the
well,
types? Yeah.
Mine does. But
Yeah.
that's
So
custom.
this is
Yeah, not that's like a matchup.
My favorite is Aaron's solution. He
So,
wrote a,
WordPress.
I think it was
hosted
micropub
WordPress,
to
WordPress.
WordPress import.
I don't know enough detail about what their fee structure is, but you can sign up for a WordPress account. And
So basically with
what
that,
you're
you
doing
can
is
actually get
adding
it from any site.
a custom domain
that had
to
the,
that to a
MF2.
given blog that you set up.
So it parsed the page and bring it into
So it's like
WordPress.
it's sort of like separated out as a distinct feature from the rest of like their hosting platform. If that makes sense. Like so it's like an add-on to any account. Let me double check that.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh,
So okay. So
So just quickly,
Go ahead.
I keep thinking of the custom CSS option. So you could do a fair amount of tweaking of how the site looks just by putting in custom CSS and custom JavaScript. So that's as much as you're gonna get.
Just to cover this, do you know what that means?
I know JavaScript.
Do you know what CSS is?
I know, I've heard of seen it.
Style sheets. Basically, the page can be
saw it on NYC.
styled.
That little piece of
Oh,
code is
that
CSS.
was, yes.
Basically, you can restyle the page, change the element, the colors of the elements, and the sizes,
Okay,
the fonts, which I know you wanted. So that's basically custom styling for an
okay.
existing thing, as opposed to writing your own thing. which I don't even know, does no one allow you to write your own thing?
For their hosted version, I don't know.
So for WordPress-
For yourself, of course.
You can sign up for a WordPress.com account at no charge.
Okay.
So what you would do is you would have, they would give you like what's called subdomain, which would be something like hipstersgo.wordpress.com.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
So.
But they charge you to make hosted, right?
So I just.
Well, this is what I'm trying to like kind of
Right.
unpack because it's not clear, because if you're signing up for
It's
new
still
blog,
like,
they
you
try to get you to sign up for
system
something.
like Known or WordPress or
Whereas
yeah.
$13 a year.
And you still like, I mean,
But there's
unless
also
you want
a
every single
premium
post
option
to use
for hosted
you have to write
WordPress,
all
which
the HTML
includes
by hand, including
a
the
custom
links to
domain
other
and host
posts
space,
and
like more
whatever you
storage
want your
space,
site to
things
look
like
like
that.
as the
But
frame.
it's not totally clear during the
Yeah,
sign up.
that'd be pretty amazing, like every single,
So-
every
Like
single
here it says
page
already
site
on a domain.
handcrafted.
Yeah.
$3.99 a month,
Usually
GoDaddy
like
WordPress hosting.
You want to, you
So
can
this
do all the
assumes that
sounds
you
yourself,
don't
but then insert
haven't
So
registered
what I
the
just
domain.
did,
Like
okay,
what we did,
so I
so-
do this, map it.
Right.
still do
So why is this
with
13?
HTML, but you no longer
Because
worrying about the type
I
of
think
page
it's
every time you
Because
post.
they don't
Just
offer you
that
as
part
much
of the page.
and
And you're creating
services as.
this
So I would
is
sign into this and
all
I
that
click on
stuff.
something
Yeah.
which like
To
go
be able to
freemium.
use that.
Right.
Business,
Right.
well,
So instead of
just.
So, yeah, so
That's why what's known offers
Yes.
each, like, that's the one option you get.
Yeah.
Right.
WordPress
Or
is
get
full or
what you
yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And so
But
I think so.
WordPress.com is also like
Yeah, I
GoDaddy.
have that already.
GoDaddy's services, despite their reputation a few years ago, their WordPress hosting, they put a lot of money into it. And
So
they're doing like $4 a month promotional.
I just
all,
feel,
all these options that Ben's showing, like the
Yeah.
check-ins and all that, WordPress doesn't have that, like .com.
I feel like that's less of what I want. I'd want more like a real, like, less of me saying this is what I did and more like like a story arc, like more like a blog. Right, does that make sense? Like as opposed to like being
You
like a
shouldn't ask me,
Twitter.
I'm still admitting to a
Yeah,
bias
so you
here.
wouldn't use that as updates.
Yeah.
Right. You would just use the post an article or post a photo.
I like a system that's as complex or as simple as you need it to be.
Does anyone have a more complex known page with known page?
Yeah, go to word.io, W-E-R-D.io, which is that's the other
Word.io?
W-E-R-D.
By the way, there's a bunch of food there.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone gets hungry.
So it has a
Well, I
founder.
figured after we finish this conversation, we'd take a little break. And I'll pause the recording, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and,
He's actually recently blogged about how
Go off
why
the
they
record.
built known
no more.
and what it's to do. So this,
I don't think they need to watch us eat.
so he's kind of telling the story there.
That's how you encourage people to come
And
Well, that's when we have the secret conversation,
And why
you know,
does
we
it
give
say,
out the swag.
Sign in.
Yeah.
because if you sign in, you can comment on it.
We already. Camera right now. or is
One of
it-
the nice things about Known is that when you post and you copy to like Twitter or Facebook, if someone, and I'm pretty sure they kind of automated this, if someone there replies to you, that shows up on your post. So scroll up to where it said comments on that post. And go to the next one. Look at that 3-comment one. See. Okay, so this is a good example. Scroll up. This comment reply came from Twitter. So Known automatically copied it back to the post. Here, so people can reply to your post on the Twitter or whatever, and it automatically comes back to yours. And then when people like it, it shows up. So it's much better cross-site integration. Not only that, I can go like this post. So where is this? Why is Known the best way to solve your community? Okay, let me go post a like, and let's see if that works.
What does posting a like mean?
That I know.
Well, this is a real basic.
Yeah.
But no, you know what liking something is, but what would posting a like be?
Same thing, obviously.
But where?
On the web.
Good answer.
I would have gone with on his side as opposed to on.
But you can like your own things.
You
Well,
can
no,
like your own
yeah.
things.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he is liking somebody else's thing on his own site.
Plot thickens, sir.
Not always thing. Otherwise, it would be a very boring plot.
Or it would be very watery at least.
Yeah.
This theme.
So I feel like I'm eating it, like this is eating into everyone else's time.
So it's just eating the lunch instead of us eating.
What was for lunch again?
Those toros,
What does that consist of?
Two
Mexican,
bowls.
it's for your own.
Is this going to be a repeat of Indiewebcamp Cambridge when I took shredded cheese and a tortilla and tried to find a microwave?
There's a
Make a cheese
microwave right
sandwich.
over there, so you'll find it.
Okay.
Do you not eat? What do you not eat?
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Last time I tried to make a cheese sandwich out of a tortilla and some cheese.
It's called a quesadilla.
Yes, I'm aware.
You guys depend
I
on
know
what
quesadillas
is,
without cheese. So.
what is a sandwich?
What is a sandwich?
It's something created so that a member of the British nobility could continue to play cards while he was eating.
Cucumber sandwich. That
I
is-
definitely want to believe that that's true.
That is true. Will you back me up on this?
Well, yeah, I don't remember.
You know nothing about the Earl of Sandwich?
No, all I know is that people were that
What was that
it's a
guy's
whole
name?
chain in
John
Florida.
Fortis?
The other sandwich is a whole sandwich chain in Florida.
Yeah.
I was more
Which I don't
familiar
know
with
if you know is actually a business collaboration between the current Earl of Sandwich
Yeah.
and somebody whose last name is Earl.
Go back to that.
Wasn't his name Fortescue? The guy who invented the Earl of Sandwich. who invented
John
something.
Montague.
Montague.
I posted
Yeah.
this, I like this.
Anyway, but wasn't he playing cards and wanted a way to pick up his food while he was playing cards? I thought that was.
Necessity is the mother of invention, after all.
Yeah, but when I invent something like that, I don't get my name on it.
You're not Earl.
No, I'm just not. I'm not good at the promotion.
Ben, do you know you're still projecting?
Yeah, I was just gonna let people know I am taking off for a couple hours to go to a follow-up to the Platform Cooperativism Conference, and their whole thing is a little bit of overlap with Indiewebcamp principles, which is that if you have some platform like Facebook, like Twitter, that lots of people are using and relying upon, maybe all those people should actually be the owners of the platform and have a democratic say in how it's run. So, if you have any, I'm going to try to bring them, in webcam protocols into that conversation. I have a couple times. Other than that,
If you know anyone who wants to come tomorrow.
yeah.
Speaking of tomorrow, it's supposed to snow really badly. Yeah, so.
Can we just stay here?
We'll be there.
Yeah, you could, but if you guys just let me know so I can adjust the.
My plan is to come unless physical conditions prevent me from.
Yeah.
If they
Oh,
do,
yeah, that would be
I will post
Yeah.
notice in
It's warm
chat.
in here.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
there's also the secondary concern about not being able to leave.
No,
But I
HDMI cable.
wonder if it's even gonna be that bad.
I've got to come from there somewhere.
Yeah, but you have a direct subway straight to your house, right?
No, but I feel like last time they said it was gonna be really bad and nothing happened.
Yeah, I
One
agree.
time they said
Yeah.
there was gonna be a hurricane, didn't rain, and then,
And then there
They
was
didn't
that
make
time
a
they
big
said
deal
it was
out of
going
it.
to be a
Yeah.
hurricane and it was a hurricane. So,
yeah, but nobody really
you know what they say,
believed it.
hope for the best, expect the worst? Or is it plan for the worst?
All right, let's do a photo. I just asked the people that are on remote,
So should we stop the live stream for now?
if you like, to get on the talkie so that we could get them to show up on the screen so that, hey, that looks like Gina.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh yes, he's on this call.
Yeah. Excellent.
That's it.
Who else is watching? Steph's,
Aaron is watching.
yeah, Aaron, okay, Steph's, I'll just mention.
What else? What else?
How many streams have we got?
Well, with Talkie, they'll just all show up there.
No, but how many people are streaming? So
Current number 6.
6. Okay.
Oh, we're really popular now.
Well, let's all get on, and before you leave, let's take a photo for today. See, there we go.
Can we
Okay.
get on there?
Hey.
Oh, they just,
Are we getting on there too?
no, we're not. We're staying here.
Aaron,
Are
you're
they
pixelating. Are they seeing us from that camera or from your?
My
Stay
arms
very
are very
still.
short.
That's what you
They're going to be in the background when we take a photo.
You stand further forward.
Okay. I can do that.
Sweet. Who else would that? Well, then you won't be in the picture.
No, yes, you will, if you take some.
In spirit.
Not from that far away. We don't have anybody else
I'll
who
be
can come.
6.
Okay. Who's that? The rest of us should stand up next to the screen. So, as close as you can get to that screen. Stand up.
I
Try. There's really not much room.
Okay. I don't know if this is.
We stand, so it works if we all stand back, and then, there you go. That's totally gonna work.
I'm just gonna have my glasses in.
No, I think you. I
Are you
think
sure
you
there's
can
no one else in the building who might help?
You can pull it farther down, or you can stand up too, because you're not blocking anything, Ron.
Can
Yeah,
you
there you
stretch
go.
your arms out a few more inches?
Okay.
I'm just hearing the delay on that, aren't you?
What?
Everybody
Ah,
in
my fingers in it now. Ah!
it? I think I got it.
That's an amazing picture.
That is an amazing picture. Let's take one more. Let's take one more with these guys. Try and tap the middle of the screen so that it gives them good contrast.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
If it doesn't work, maybe I can find something else to help.
Do one more.
Oh yeah, such good contrast.
Yes. All right.
Is someone gonna merge these images?
Oh
There you
shit.
go. Tap it and then make sure you're in it. There we go.
Perfect. I don't know where I was looking, but I think it's perfect.
People all look very lifelike.
So one more. Sorry guys, one more. These laptops were the ones their screen was causing everything else to be dark. So one more. Get it.
Creative design.
This is what we call iteration. Okay. See how much better that is? Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna do another one. Oh, creative design. I'm
Nice.
gonna use that's to
Okay.
angles and stuff. Perfect.
Okay, are we pausing for lunch?
I think so.
We're pausing for lunch.
Okay, we are
Thanks,
now
guys.
discontinuing the live stream. It will resume after lunch.
Why don't we keep
We
it
can
on?
keep. I thought we could keep the talking on.
But the talkie doesn't show them the unless you want
So I can
to
put it on here. I'll put the talking on, but we don't need to broadcast.
Agreed.
So we're going to switch to talkie.io/Indiewebcamp, and we'll come back to the live stream after lunch. This now concludes our broadcast day.